What's going on, everybody? I'm late. Yep, that is me. I be late most times. But if you're new here, I'm Eve. Welcome to my show. And tonight is July 12th, 2024. Um, this conversation has been long awaited, well, ever since the first one, because YouTube didn't like the information that was being shared. They said specifically that I was sharing medical misinformation. And I don't know what was medical misinformation as much as maybe I should have been a little bit more um, careful with the vocabulary I was using. Because, you guys are all smart, at least every person that has been paying attention to any of my shows for any real length of time. You guys have shown me that you are intelligent. Um, Smarter than the average bear, right? Um, but then in real time, sometimes we can't just say things plainly. No, because when we say things plainly, you get you get a strike, you get a ban, you get targeted, you get said different things that all revolve around you not actually being able to speak up. Well, that happened first time I said that America needed a flea bath. I don't know if that's going to happen tonight, but I'm going to try to have this conversation to the best of my ability. And I'd hope, well, it is my hope that YouTube doesn't mess with it too hard. But what do I know? I'm just Eve. And, well, uncomfortable conversations make people not want to be around. Popular conversations, trending topics, those are easy. Those are things that you can put in a title and get people in the room, and everybody kind of knows why we're all here. No, when we have these uncomfortable conversations, these titles that don't sound too friendly, well, is that really what I want to talk about on a Friday night? Well, it's what I want to talk about on a Friday night. So if you're joining me, that's what's up. That's cool that more people want to have an uncomfortable conversation about things that we can do. Um, Never want to have any type of show where I'm just talking at the room and there aren't any solutions or better practices or things that we can do about the things that I might be bitching, whining, complaining, moaning, or groaning about. No, no, this is not fraudulent business. We don't talk about problems for 6, 7, 8, 9 hours and then say that it's for the people who work in the graveyard shift, as much as we should be telling people that it's because we don't have any friends or family that give a damn. Because when you have friends and family that give a damn, you probably are out living your best life. At least for some of those hours, right? Like 6, 7, 8, 9 hours on a Friday. Where's your family? Where are your friends? Where are your people? Who are your people, right? No. Well, at least those are questions that I've had. And be careful what you ask for. You get the answer, and then it's like, oh, damn, did I really mean to ask this question? Because I don't know if I really wanted the answer. It, it's almost, it's hypocritical, how we can move and talk and say the things that sound right and do the things that are completely opposite. To flee or not to flee? That's the question tonight. And I think that if we were a country that, well, practiced better hygiene, then maybe we wouldn't have these problems, right? Well, I don't know. Um, so much that's happened, and some of it is old, and some of it is new, and some of it's things that we probably have already talked about, and some of it is maybe a new lens on an old conversation. Let's start here. So there was a fact check, right? You guys remember the picture of the people on the wings of airplanes and such. Let's see if I can show it to you. I've used the picture before because, well, it seemed pretty poignant at the time. It seemed to paint a picture that you could only imagine. It was almost Hollywood-esque. Fact check. Image claiming to show refugees leaving Afghanistan is from 2018. Now, that's what the title says. And yes, this article is old, but here's the point. The point is that I've used this picture a few different times when I've talked about the infestation of other peoples in my country. And people have had their feelings about it, mixed feelings abound, but the fact remains that I've been using this picture for a little while now, and they're saying that this picture, you can see on your screen, you can look at it for yourself. They were saying, the fact check is false. Where is it on the screen? Here we go. Our rating, false. Photos of refugees inside U.S. Air Force C-17 cargo plane evacuating Afghans from Kabul to Quetta were shared by Defense One. And they're saying that this is false according to these sources. Okie dokie. Now, here's my question and point. It says the photo shows Afghan migrants, right? They're saying migrants, not refugees. And they're on a charter flight in 2018 returning to Afghanistan. And that there were also women and children. But look, just look on the same article. And this is USA Today. So you have to think a lot of Americans are using sources like USA Today to give them the information. What happened to my article? It's gone. There we go. Okay. They're using these sources to negate talking points that I've had. And I have issues with that, right? Because look at the picture. This is the picture. Let me blow it up for you. All right. Now, in the picture itself, it says verified UGC via AP, Associated Press. Okay, hundreds of people run alongside a U.S. Air Force transport plane as it moves down a runway of the international airport in Kabul, Afghanistan on August 16, 2021. That is the picture that I've been using. But how is it a false picture? They're not refugees. They're saying they're going back to Afghanistan. But are they? Are they going back to Afghanistan? Because it looks like they're fleeing something. This is an aerial view. Let me make it bigger for you. Can I make it bigger? Well, I want to make this one bigger. No. Okay, I guess this is as big as we're going to be able to get today. Haha, there we go. Look at that. They look like, what does this look like? If this was your dog, if this is a picture of your dog, and you saw this on them, what does that look like to you? I know it's not just me. It can't just be me. Maybe it's just me. It looks like fleas. Same people. Same people. I'm just making a comparison because right now, fleeing. The English language is so wonderful, isn't it? So many words that sound the same that mean different. Is it fair that we can use terms like this, or am I being unfair? I know, don't all speak at once, and I don't know. I guess we don't have anybody in the chat tonight, and that's cool. I don't mind having a conversation by myself for too long, but a point, just maybe you're listening to this in the playback. Is it fair that we can use words like flee, and then people get mad that I'm making a comparison between the two? I need to know. I need to know because I know what flee means. And I know what flee means. And I know y'all know what flee means. But it I'm telling you, people are mad, like downright angry at the fact that I will use the word flee about a flea. And I just
look it up.
all right, fine. Flee, according to Merriam-Webster, is to run away, often from danger or evil. That's the primary definition of flee. It's a verb, to pass away swiftly or vanish, and then the tertiary definition, to run away from or to shun. But the primary definition of flee is to run away from danger or evil. Now, what does this say right here about this picture? Afghan people climb atop a plane as they wait at the airport, fleeing. There it is. Fleeing. They're fleeing hardline brand of Islamist rule. That's what they're fleeing. It's not just me, but y'all are mad at me. I'm just Eve. I'm gonna have to make some of this shit make sense because the math ain't mathing, y'all. Thousands of people mobbed the city's airport trying to flee the group's feared hardline brand of Islamist rule. Flee. I didn't make that shit up, you guys. It's satellite image. Crowds of people at the terminal. See them? Now that looks like a flea. But we're not talking about the same thing. But we are. And I love our language because, we can use words that mean different things about the same things and we'll all know what I'm talking about. But just, I know.
Look it up.
Fine. Flea is a noun. It's a small wingless jumping insect which feeds on the blood of mammals and birds. It sometimes transmits diseases through its bite, including plague. And y'all are not going to get me to say this word. I can't say it. Myxomatosis. Myxomatosis. However you say that. Okay. Looks like fleas. But okay, maybe I'm being base, right? Because even though it looks like a flea, maybe they're ants. I don't know if I want a bunch of ants congregating like that either. But let me digress on Afghanistan because this was years ago. This was like 3 years ago. I'm not too hung on this definition or example as much as there's so many definitions and examples of why America needs a flea bath. And well, the first woman vice president, who is a first generation immigrant hailing from Jamaica of Indian parents, Mrs. Kamala Harris. She's a flea. And sometimes fleas are involuntary. You can be an involuntary flea. Not like on your screen. No, this is on the wings of planes, like purposely. No, but you can be a Kamala type of flea. What do I mean here? I'm gonna tell you what I mean. And really, I'm gonna share with you. It feels like deja vu, really. It feels like deja vu because 4 years ago, this is where we were as a country.
And a question for all of the candidates as they're getting into the primary, Karun, is how do they take on Donald Trump, right? And the Mayor Pete Buttigieg approach to Trump versus the Elizabeth Warren approach to President Trump, which is ignore him or take him on directly. Which approach do you think wins out in the primary?
I mean, this is the big question for the Democratic Party, right? Which way are they going to go? They're not exactly a completely cohesive group.
Right.
I don't think that you can completely ignore Donald Trump. He is everywhere. He is on television every 5 seconds. He is doing things that make the news all the time. So to pretend like you're not actually addressing him in this election is to kind of ignore where the gut of the Democratic.
And look, when I say deja vu, I really do mean deja vu. If you replace Trump with Biden being an old, stuttering, senile, demented racist, then we're having the same conversation. They literally are saying that the Democratic Party's plan was to ignore Trump because he's going to jail soon. I know they haven't quite said that just yet, but that's where they're going with this. If we just ignore him, he's going to be going to jail soon. 4 years ago, that didn't happen. Now, flash forward to today, not only is he not in jail, but he is still running for president. And then again, just replace Trump with all of the different things that Biden has done to embarrass us as a country. And we're having the same conversation, but I'll let them talk.
Party is after the heartbreak of 2016 that they had. But, to completely go further than you can actually substantiate necessarily by saying, oh, he's maybe not going to be a free person. I mean, the Mueller investigation has not gotten that far. The Democratic leaders in the House do not want to talk impeachment right now. So that may be just kind of throwing too much red meat out there. And clearly there's some sort of a happy middle, but we don't know who that's going to be or what it's going to sound like, because it's going to depend a lot on the candidate. And at this point, they're all making their pitches out there and seeing what sticks with which part of the base they hope to claim. They're not yet at the point where they're going to have to start answering, and challenging each other. And that's when we're going to get to see, really where they can kind of split the party. Yeah.
Yeah. And also too much red meat. That is a line you will never hear. That is not a philosophy that Donald Trump adheres to. That's
True.
for sure. I do
true.
want to ask you about about Kamala Harris. During a radio interview this morning, she was asked about people questioning that she's not Black enough. And I found it was important how she answered it and what she said. Let me play for you what she said.
So I was born in Oakland.
Yeah.
and raised in the United States, except for the years that I was in high school in Montreal, Canada. And look.
I'm sorry, y'all. It just sounded like she might have drank some Hennessy before she went to talk to Charlemagne. It like she wanted to feel Black, and then she was like, let me get into some sips. Because I swear to God, every time she's talking, it just sounds like she's been into some sips. But I couldn't focus. Let me backtrack. Here we go.
For you, what she said.
So I was born in Oakland.
Yeah.
and raised in the United States, except for the years that I was in high school in Montreal, Canada. And look, this is the same thing they did to Barack.
Yes.
This is not new to us. And so I think that we know what they're trying to do. They're trying to do what has been happening over the last 2 years, which is powerful voices trying to sow hate and division among us.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to recognize when we're being played.
What do you think of her response?
I think it's a good response. And I think it's something she's going to have to answer more so in terms of politics, right? I mean, on the one hand, the question of Blackness is about sort of where did you grow up and who your parents were. But it's also a question of how Black are your politics, right? How well do they represent African Americans? And I think so her record as a prosecutor, I think when sometimes people talk about how Black she is, in some ways they mean her record as a prosecutor and whether or not that is in line with what's best for African Americans, because we know.
Now, are y'all hearing it? It's the same shit. It's literally the same conversation 4 years ago. We're having the same conversation again. And I'll be damned if I don't know if Black America has learned its lesson. Because are we hard-headed? Is it so simple? It's so simple to label Black America's problem, but then why is it so hard to fix the problem? But if hard-headed is the way, then you know what parents used to say. You know what they used to say. I don't know if you can say it now, and I don't know if parents say it now, but a hard head makes a soft ass. And, it just sounds like people who want to keep getting fucked, right? Like, if we don't do anything more than what we've been doing, it could be just to take a step back. You know, I don't know that I've seen a lot of Black saviors in the news anymore. And I don't know it's not because it's not happening, but it's not the focus. You know, the focus seems to be more on self, and that can go a good way or it can go a bad way. And you know, when we focus on self, it can get very shallow or superficial. But I think Black America needs to hone in on some of these traits, because even though we've been told that it's not where we need to go, it's some energy that is foreign to us. And they like to use foreign entities against us. For example, you know, the industry and the OGs and, you know, big mamas and, you know, the people that are supposed to be mentoring the youth on the industry. They will tell you that you're not supposed to be under the influence, you know, drugs and alcohol and just little kinks. You don't want people knowing your kinks because they'll use your kink against you. But if you've been afraid of what that is, you don't even want to explore these things, because, you know, when they go low, you go high. It is going to be used against you. So what do? Do you selfishly explore the different things, or do you identify these things as things that we need to be paying attention to? And inside of that, well, I think preparation happens. You are prepared for when they offer you the first drink. You know, it's like your parents, when your parents talk to me about sex or not talking to me about sex. But I had a conversation with Dr. Winters this week, and while we were talking about roaches, and yes, I'm talking about fleas. So I've got pests on my brain. And I find that a lot of us have a pest problem. You know, it might be in your house. It might be in your town. It could be in your state. It's definitely a problem that the country is dealing with in general. So I would say that it's probably happening around you. And if you don't see it, that might make you a soft target. And what did I just say about a hard head? Well, that might be that soft ass I was talking about. So, well, let me let them continue.
Know about the disproportionate ways in which the criminal justice system has affected African Americans. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a question that she's going to get. You hear a lot of sort of Twitter buzz on this in some ways, with people questioning whether or not she's just performing Blackness. Is she really Black? Sure, she went to Howard, but she married a white man, which I think she also addressed in that interview as well, and essentially said she married who she fell in love with. So, you know, This will be a question that you'll have to answer, as we know that Obama did as well.
I find it fascinating, though, when you look across the Democratic primary field, how candidates and people interview them, no one's shying away from any of these topics, though. From Kamala to Amy Klobuchar with the stories about her, to Pete Buttigieg.
And I guess that's where we start to see a difference, because no, they definitely don't want us to pay attention to Biden. That's a big no-no. I wanted to show you the clip where Biden told the reporters that he's only allowed to call on these reporters, but I couldn't find it. What I found was, damn it, did I lose that too? Let's see. He's done so much. Here we go. Yes. Biden. They don't want us to pay attention to him. Well, they want us to ignore him, and they don't want us to call him out. So I guess it's all ignoring him. Let's see. Why do they want us to ignore Biden? Let's see if I can show it to you. I guess if I push the buttons, then they will do the things like this.
Respectfully, earlier you misspoke in your opening answer, referring to Vice President Harris as Vice President Trump. Right now, Donald Trump is using that to mock your age and your memory. How do you combat that criticism from tonight?
Listen to him.
This concludes tonight's press conference. Thank you, everybody.
You guys, they want us to ignore him and they want us to listen to him. They want us to ignore him and they want us to vote for him. How, Sway? No, that math ain't mathin'. I might have to have this on a loop because that's how crazy America's gotten inside of the last 4 years of the presidency under Biden.
Respectfully, earlier you misspoke in your opening answer.
Earlier you misspoke. I know it's a little low, so I'm gonna just do that. The reporter says earlier you misspoke.
Vice President Harris
You referred to Vice President Harris as Vice President Trump.
as Vice President Trump. Right now, Donald Trump is using that
And right now, Donald Trump is using it
to mock your age and your memory.
to mock your age and your memory.
How do you combat that criticism from tonight?
All right, $64 million question. How do you combat that criticism?
Listen to him.
This concludes tonight's press conference. Thank you, everybody.
I just can't anymore. I don't even think that they're serious anymore. Like, if this is what we have to vote for, then what are we losing if we don't vote at all? What is so wrong with staying home and not voting for any of it? Because I know some of y'all are telling me that I still need to pay attention to the other things that are on the ballot. And I think you do need to pay attention to those things. But if the other things on the ballot also is math that ain't mathin', what are we doing? Are we even having the same conversation? Are we talking about the same things? Okay, I'm in the state that I'm in. And if you go to ballotpedia.org, this is something that everybody can do. You can click on your state and it will give you the different things, the different dates, the different offices, everything you need to know about elections with regards to what's happening in your square. That would be in your state square. And also, I guess, in your city square, because cities and towns all exist inside of states. And I'm sorry, I know y'all knew that, but just needed to finish the thought. So anyway, Ballotpedia, if you were to do that, you can look it up. You can, in real time, always be prepared for stupid questions like, well, what about the school board? Okay, well, what about the school board? You know, if you know what's being voted on or who's being voted for or who the candidates are, because you very easily and quickly went on ballotpedia.org and checked it out. And no, I'm not saying that this is a be all end all, but it is definitely a first step into the math making sense, because y'all are trying to tell me that 2 + 2 = 5. And I have 5 fingers on one hand. And if I take 2 fingers and another 2 fingers, it's still got something else going on. But okay, all right, fine. We got 4 fingers and a thumb, so you're right. 2 + 2 does = 5 if you're using a hand. But we have to be talking about the same things, right? If we're not talking about the same things, then we're going to go and have disagreements about the things. And probably 9 times out of 10, we agree on most things. Black America has never been this democratic entity as much as they've always been humanitarian, a loving people, a people who understand hierarchy, people who understand, how to teach people how to do things, how to share our experience so that other people can learn from it. It's I guess it's almost spiritual. And then when you start going down spooky spiritual talk, you find that it might be related to how long we've been here. like on the planet. And when you take ancient age into consideration, well, maybe you would get more understanding of why certain groups of people don't understand things. In the news, you guys have seen Alec Baldwin, right? And Alec Baldwin was in the news because he killed somebody on the set of the film Rust. Well, today, a Santa Fe judge dismissed the involuntary manslaughter case against him. Helena Hutchins, who was the person who died on the set because Alec Baldwin shot her. I guess there's no justice for her. So I guess some of you guys would say, well, Alec Baldwin is, he's not fully white like that. You know, he's got a little color in him. Or Helena, that name sounds just strange. I'm trying to find a picture of her, but I don't see one just yet. Sometimes white people kill other white people, and that's just life. It's so strange how they can kind of get off for doing things against each other, and then we will say that things aren't fair. I think things are fair as written. You know, if you're the person and people and entities that get to write the laws, then maybe you would allow different loopholes. You know, I'm white and I say so is a loophole that everybody understands. Even niggas understand I'm white and I say so. But maybe you will allow something to glitch because you know it's not going to be here for long. I find that there's a big disconnect in Black America, and it's probably a spiritual thing, because in our heart of hearts and our soul of souls, we want to save them. But at what cost? To flee or not to flee? Like, we didn't flee. Could we have fled? Could we have left? Could we have run away? I guess we could have. And I guess, you know, they say runaway slaves. That's not fleeing. It's moving around inside of the compound. Yeah, that's like moving about inside of your own country. I guess if the people who are not from here stayed in their country and just moved about inside of their own country, then we wouldn't have these problems. But fleas. I hope y'all don't get grossed out by this, because I did. But this is for learning. You know, I want us to learn something.
Flee. Flee. Flee.
What they look like, right? But do we know how it affects its host? What do you do when the flea has infested your home? What do you do when the flea has infested your pet. Because, like, you know, we have pets. We got dogs and cats, and some of y'all let your cats outside, which I think is strange, but it happens. And maybe that's like the white people version of us that have cats that go outside. I don't know. Or maybe that's like the black people version of us that I don't know. I just know that black people have pets and they can contract fleas. And if we can get it about the animal, why can't we get it about us? But maybe it's because you don't have a visual. And since Fridays are about protecting the minis from predators and I guess having uncomfortable conversations about what we need to be doing to protect them, I find that fleas are creatures, behaviors. It's something we need to protect the minis from. But you're not uncomfortable yet. So let me help you.
Fleas are the most common pests that cats and dogs encounter. These blood-sucking parasites live in our yards, in our homes, and on our pets. Although partial to cats and dogs, fleas also bite humans. Fleas have large hind legs that allow them to jump onto their hosts. They can jump up to 7 inches vertically and 13 inches horizontally. Their hairy legs and bodies help them cling to an animal's fur. The flea's diet consists entirely of blood. When a flea bites an animal, its saliva causes irritation and itching. Fleas can cause anemia in kittens and puppies. They can also transmit tapeworms and bacteria that can cause serious diseases. A female flea needs blood to produce eggs. She can lay up to 50 eggs a day. Flea eggs fall off the animal into the surrounding environment, your carpet, furniture, bedding, etc. Flea feces, called flea dirt, is essentially dried blood. It also falls off the host animal. Within 2 to 5 days, the eggs begin hatching into larvae. These whitish worm-like creatures prefer damp, dark places, and their bristly hairs help them attach to carpet and furniture fibers. The larvae feed on the flea feces and other debris. After about a week, a larva begins spinning a cocoon, in which it pupates. The pupa fully develops in 5 to 8 days, but the flea may not emerge for months if environmental conditions are not right. While in the cocoon, the flea is protected from cold, dryness, and even insecticides. When a flea senses a nearby host, it emerges from the cocoon hungry for blood, and the cycle begins again. The entire life cycle can be as short as 12 to 14 days.
I might have to become a vet. That might be the only way that y'all niggas listen to me. Like I just don't understand. But I hope that made you uncomfortable because I'm uncomfortable and I know y'all are uncomfortable. And if you don't address the problem, then there will never be a solution. And I say that flea bath is necessary. But maybe you have another way that we can put it. Maybe you can be nicer about it. I don't know, but I just I don't know how you use niceties to make the bullies stop bullying. Rakeem in the chat, definitely. I think you are on the right track. Let me throw it up on the screen. Let's see. There were some fleas who fled Europe many centuries ago. Absolutely. They slaughtered the American Native Indian. Absolutely. Many others died due to multiple diseases. Absolutely. Carried by the product of Yakub. But now you're in like, I don't know. Because like, I don't know. Yakub is a story I don't know. So that's going to be up to the person's belief system, I think. I don't know that that's scientific, but I'm not a scientist, right? I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. But so far, yes, I'm in agreement with everything that you've said about fleas. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's not that we have a flea infestation right now in 2024. No, this has been a problem we've been dealing with since their arrival. And from there, they bite and they infect and they infest and they make more, and then they send out signals for more and more and more and more. And then flash forward to 2024, these bitches are on airplane wings. That's a flea. And I mean, if you watch the video I just shared, it shows you that their life cycle is not that long. And it's not, if you think about the behaviors of a flea, at least the human version, right? They bring over this horrible mentality, these bad behaviors. If you think about the degeneracy of our music and our craft, that is, well, the Black American sound in the form of hip hop, rap, and well, that in that direction. A lot of the degeneracy came from somewhere else. And it's not saying that we didn't have raunchy, nasty music just like everybody else. No, I feel like it was a time and a place, and it was put in a context of not for everybody. What do I mean? A lot of these raunchy songs that people have been able to pull out of the dust have been songs that nobody knows about. Like, yeah, they're out, but nobody knows about them. I mean, they know about them, but they don't know about them. They know about them, but they don't know. They know that we are the creators of hip hop, but they don't know that we are the creators. They know that we are the creators of rap, but they don't know. It's like a both and that math doesn't math. You can't both and everything, as much as there will be balance if we want things to make sense, but that's still not a both and. No, it's every situation can get judged based on the merit of its situation. Every person should be judged by themselves. You know, you judge them based off of them, not like off of other people, right? That's why we can have a time where you will say that it's not the messenger, it's the message. If the messenger is saying to be faithful to your spouse, and then you find out that the messenger is not faithful to their spouse, do you still listen to the message? If you find that the messenger is telling you not to sleep with the fleas, don't do that. But then you find that not only have they been sleeping with the fleas, but they have been trying to make more. Do you still listen to the messenger? Or is it you listen to their actions and then you decide how you want to move from there? Because I find that a lot of you guys are saying that. You know, you're watching someone's actions and you're listening to the words coming out of their mouth, and you're saying that the math ain't mathin', and it's because you're not looking at it with the right formula. You don't have the right formula. And I know I'm not the authority on these things. I am just Eve, but I think that if we apply what we already know, simple math, to these uncomfortable conversations, not only will Black America advance in a way that we haven't done in a very long time, but it'll be very quick because you guys are so intelligent. You are not who they thought you were. You're not like them. But then they want to be like us. And then I find that some of us want to be like them. So yeah, it's a very confusing time, 2024. Some of the fleas look like you and me, or do they? Are you listening to the things that are being said? Are you watching the things that are being done? Because if you recall from the clip I played earlier, 2020, they were saying that Kamala's going to have to address her Blackness, and not because of where she was born or because of what school she went to, but because of her policies. What policies is she going to help or hinder or do to advance Black America? And yes, 2020, they didn't say Black America. I do think that the lexicon has changed and they're not just saying African American anymore, but let's be honest, when they say African American, you know, they're talking about us. Yes, they do try to slip in everybody else, but if you pay attention to the same people, when they're talking about other people, just make a note. Because when they try to include those other people in the African American umbrella, they've already done the work for you. You can use their words to put people in the category that the people want to be in. Delineating. You know, they've been doing it. All we did was use their example, and I guess we're doing such a good job that they want in. That's like having your favorite football team or basketball team be the underdogs forever and never quite making it, just almost. You know, Black America's like almost. And then we finally make it. And not only does everybody want to be on the team, but they're acting like they've been on the team. Well, I'm glad that paperwork has been a constant in this delineating conversation, because you can't just say you're on the team. You're going to have to show and prove. Because there are people that we know their paperwork is fine, at least with regards to their lineage, and they are talking crazy. Like they've been bit, like they got a disease or something. A disease that means that they would eradicate themselves. It's like a kamikaze. It's like those zombie movies, right? You know, you infect someone and then someone infects someone else. And no, I know I'm going a lot with the different symbols tonight. I guess I'll stay with the fleas. But do you remember about the fleas? Because they infect their hosts with a bite, and then they make babies, and then the babies find and wait for other hosts. Shit makes me itch. I hope it made you itch. Moving right along through what I found in the news this week. This bothered me. This bothered me. Actually, before I go to Ruth, let's take a commercial break. Shall we? I think we shall. If I can find them. Boom, there's. What's up, everybody? It's Eve. Follow me on Twitter and YouTube for space recordings and special live programs. 2024, we're doing things a little different if you haven't peeped game by now. So yeah, this is your chance. You can do it now if you want. Hit the bell here on YouTube at JustEveB, or find me on X at Justice4Just_Us. That's JUSTICE, 4 JUST_US. And if you feel so inclined, support my channel and the work we do over here. The Cash App and Patreon links are in the description. Black first. That's right, Black first. Yeah, let's talk about Ruth, and then I've got something that I wanted to talk about a couple weeks ago, or a week ago. Yeah, I guess it was about a week ago. Where is it? Ruth, where'd you go? I saw this and it bothered me. It bothered me because this entire article is about a woman who's 110 years old. And I'm going to give it to people who are centurions and say that if it's a Black centurion, then they are probably a native Black American, especially if they give where they were born. Because I don't know that people who are Black in this country, or people with melanin who are in this country in the early 1900s were from the motherland en masse. So there's the caveat. Now let's learn about Ruth. Ruth Onley, her dad lived until he was about 105, and she jokes about God told her her days were all numbered, but he didn't tell her the number. Okay, Miss Onley is one of 10 children born in 1914 in Weverton, Maryland. Now, just look at how long this article is. There she is. Look at her. Does she look like she's 110 years old? That woman does not look 110. She doesn't. That's not 110. But damn it, if Black is a, well, Black American, melanated person, you've got some shit about you, and they hate it. Because, man, you do not look 110. Go ahead with your bad self. All right. Anyway, look at how long this article is. It talks about Miss Onley, about her love for her family. She prepared a soul food buffet every Sunday after church for family and neighbors, to include chicken salad sandwiches, roast chicken, ham, candied sweet potatoes, greens, mac and cheese, cabbage, fried chicken, peach cobbler, and pound cake. She cans, like she's a canner. She makes applesauce and such. She met her husband and was married to him for, I don't know, a bunch of years. He died in 1962. And she's competitive. She's big on games. She likes card games, Scrabble. She'll eat food. She likes wheat. All right, let God and family be your light. And I'm not joking that. I think that that's wonderful. Look at the picture. Look at the family. They look so nice and happy and wonderful. All right, that's the whole article. Now, what's my issue? I know you want to know what's your issue, Eve. What the fuck is the problem? You got an issue with people reporting on old people. Yes and no. The issue that I have is that they reported on a woman, a Native Black American who's 110 years old, a Native Black American who would have had parents who were either born into slavery or had just escaped that because, slavery ended, as everybody knows it, the big bad one in 1865. So 1865, let's do some simple math. And because, I'm not a math teacher, let me pull out my handy dandy calculator. Okie dokie. So 1914, 1865. All right, if her parents were born right at the end of slavery, then they would have been 49 years old when they had her. So maybe her parents were born after slavery, if they had her young. I don't know. If her dad lived to be 105 years old, then, actually, I guess I can do that math too. Give me a moment, people. Where'd the article go? It said that her dad died when oh, no, it didn't say, just that he was 105. Yeah, okay, my bad. I thought I was going to be able to do some math there. It said her husband died in 1962. My bad. Got that wrong. Anyway, well, her dad lived to be 105. Then, I don't know, maybe he had her when he was 50. They did have 10. And I don't know if it said that she was the oldest or youngest, but 10, y'all know how they were doing it back in the day. And they could have easily been very, very, very old when they had Mrs. Onley. So but just for shits and giggles, let's just say it's her grandparents who were born in slavery. She was born in 1914, that's the time period that they want us to attach to for our reparative justice claim, isn't it? You know, if you look up anytime the mainstream media, mainstream news, or the dominant cowards in charge are talking about our reparative justice, they want to start it right when Mrs. Only was born, right? Redlining, Jim Crow laws, super segregation, no civil rights, no no voting rights. Women can't vote and stuff like that, right? Let's see. Women could vote in 1904. No, it says that the 19th Amendment was ratified in 1920. So, right around the time that Mrs. Only is born, women are finally getting the right to vote, and things are supposed to start looking like equality, but we're still having to deal with very racist people who have groups and organizations inside of other organizations, and we're unable to get the help that other people get. For example, firefighters. Firefighters are like they're like police officers, right? And they're supposed to protect and serve, kind of. They're first responders, and they're the people who will go into a burning building, right? But wrong. No, even the firefighters, I read an article, I want to say it was last week, and the firefighter was saying that he's lived a very long life, and he feels really bad because some of the things that he's done, you can't take that stuff back. And they're like, well, what are you talking about? What bad things? And he starts to recount different occasions of leaving people in burning buildings because they were Black or because they were soon to be Black. So what if they were white, right? No, I don't think that he said that, and I accidentally burned one of us. No, he was very much talking about leaving children in burning buildings, Black children in burning buildings because they were Black and because that was on code. So maybe he didn't even feel like that, but in real time, people just do what everybody else is doing. So to the 40 people listening live tonight, I get it. I want to tell you publicly that I get it. I get why you can still listen to the Broke Authority for news and such, because he's so much better with the words and the things. But when you're old, I feel like you should be better at some things. When you're the old person in the room, we're supposed to be learning from you, getting the example of what to do and what not to do. But aren't we getting what to do and what not to do? We are. So again, to the room, to the show listeners in the audience, I get it. I get why it's so hard to separate things, because we want the information and we want news and we want it to sound like a person who knows what they're talking about, but we don't want the responsibility ourselves. No, because if we did, then when the message and the messenger stop meshing, there's the word, when the messenger and the message stop meshing, we would do something about it. But we don't. We don't, because it means that the ball is now in our court. And yeah, I know, I've already said it. So, well, I guess I'll have to say it again, just in case you're new here. But everybody doesn't want to play. Everybody likes talking about the game. Everybody has their thoughts about how they would run the ball, how they would shoot the ball, how they would throw the ball, how they would catch the ball. But they don't actually want to be on the court. They don't want to be on the field. They don't want to look foolish. in front of people. No, they have their thoughts from the stands though. Shout out to the spectators because they necessary spectators. They are the ticket buyers and the merch buyers. They are the cheerleaders and the people who can give the morale that's needed for a team that is almost there. They just need a little oomph. They just need that extra support from the audience. The people who are there because they want to see them fall, and the people who are there because they know that they can't fall because they've got your support, of course. And then, well, then you win. Or you don't, because you weren't prepared. But Black America, we right there. We should be nicknamed almost American. Almost at our destination. Almost making sense. Because really, isn't that good enough? We basically have the things, right? If you were to go murder Tyrone, then your ass is going to jail unless you can get a really good lawyer. Because black on black crime, they like that shit. So what if there's another nigga that's not alive anymore? That other nigga could pay for it. But most of the time it doesn't happen like that. And a lot of these black on black crimes, I'm still trying to figure out how they know who it is when there are no suspects. But they are very comfortably labeling it black on black crime. But is it because of the fleas? In the video about the fleas, they told you they exist in these damp, dark places, and I can't help but think about the hood. But maybe y'all are so far removed from the hood. Black America is far removed from a lot of the stereotypes that people put on us. For example, roaches. That is so far removed from Black America's existence that, you've got a generational epigenetic trauma about it, but you didn't experience it directly. And maybe you did, but we're the adults now. Are y'all living with roaches? And if you are, is it because you have roaches or is it because your environment has roaches? I don't think I've met a Black American that's had roaches in a house, in a single family unit, a unit that's not attached to another unit. But I have seen roaches in townhouses and apartments and duplexes and places where it's not just one family residing there. Transversely, I've seen all sorts of critters in single family homes of other people from different lineages. But you start thinking about how many people are occupying the space and you find out that it's 15 different Hectors, fucking 10 different Julios, and 5 different Marias, all in this one house. 12 of them are using the same one car to get to work. And yeah, when they get to work, they all got the same name. You got Bob's janitorial service and John's landscaping business cutting 7 different checks for Hector Ramirez. Math ain't mathin', y'all. I wanted to talk about another flea, but this is a different type of flea because, well, this is a Kamala type of flea. The Kamala fleas they're a little more tricky because they're unintentional fleas. They didn't ask to be here. Children don't ask to be here. And then they grow up and now they're adults that we have to deal with. So there should be space to have conversations about them, but they can't be the focus of the conversation because they're not the perpetrators or the original crime crime starters? No. Crime participants. People participating in the illegal activity, right? If you're a child that is of an illegal, you had no say in your parents fleeing here. As much as, you know, when you get here, maybe we should make room for the children who tell on their parents, right? Like I was good, you know, with my banana tree in the backyard. You know, it was a dirt road, but, you know, we were happy. We can go into the forest and pick all sorts of tropical fruits, and life is cool. Yeah, there's war sometimes, and yeah, we have to, you know, cover and hide, and sometimes we can't learn certain things, but the weather's nice. And then next thing you know, my parents tell me that I got to get on this boat and go to America because I can't stay here anymore. And I didn't ask to go anywhere. Some of these babies are being raped on the journey, and their parents, they gotta be the worst people if you sent your child on a journey that you haven't made for an opportunity at a better life. If you look at some of the stats, I mean, measles, mumps, chicken pox, hand, foot, mouth disease, and a lot of shit that's been gone for a long time is back. How, Sway? Can y'all tell me why or how things that we were told that if we take a certain medicine or we treat for and are preventative against, are we still having to deal with these things? You know, some of y'all will say, well, it's because they re-released it. They found it in a cave in the Arctic, and it's 1 billion years old, and it's the first version of it, and now it's out because somebody re-released it. The fuck? No. How about we go with the simplest explanation? Simplest explanation is that people who didn't have to go through the same type of mandate with regards to keeping themselves clean, keeping their environment clean. You know, they didn't have the same systems in place, to their detriment, maybe not to their detriment, who knows, but we did. And as such, you know, we haven't had to deal with some diseases for a long time. Now there's a lot of people over here who didn't have the same systems, and we're finding that diseases are coming back. And okay, damn it, that might have been it. I think this is where I went last time when YouTube said that this was medical misinformation. So this is just how I feel about things. If you're a scientist, please, you know, join the conversation and correct me on the information. But I find that people like what you see on your screen, first generation immigrants, people who didn't ask to be here, you know, they have some very strange entitlements. A lot of you guys saw this, but let's watch it together, shall we?
New Orleans, y'all look like y'all tired. You motherfuckers ain't ready. I don't give a fuck how many seats is empty in this bitch. Everybody that's here, get the fuck up. Sir and miss, thank you. Excuse me, brother. Don't start with motherfucking me today. Fuck going on? What the fuck going on? Hey, yo, fuck them camera phones too. Let's get back to interacting like humans. Put them weird ass devices down. I ain't from that era. Them shits don't control the soul. Fuck your phone. Excuse me, gentlemen. Thank you very much. I will point every last one of y'all out until y'all asses is up. 33 years of doing this shit, I ain't used to niggas sitting down at my show. I don't give a fuck. All age groups, get your ass up now. I see you, beautiful queen. Get up too. Fuck going on? Everybody up top too. Get your big head asses up. Look, the reason why there will be zero tolerance for bullshit energy in here is because this is my first time in New Orleans at the fucking 30-year anniversary of the Essence Festival. This my first time, this my brother's first time, and it's my other brother's first time.
That's right.
Make me feel like we home.
Hey, yo, if you want to turn it up, say turn it up. Say turn it up. Turn up. Turn up.
Turn up, right? Turn up, right? I mean, it's his first time at Essence, but I'm sorry. In Essence, it sounds like he has some entitlement issues. How in the fuck do you tell people who are not feeling your vibe that they have to vibe with you? And if they don't, that you're going to put them on blast? Like, aren't you putting yourself on blast by letting people en masse know that people are not rocking with you? But I mean, I guess, man, people like Dwan, who reads cards, said that this was going to be the year of exposure, and it's July, and so many things have been exposed. I hope somebody on this side of the internet makes one of those calendars of the different exposures that's happened over the past 7 months. You know, like how they have the wild and crazy shit that happens each month for the year, and then the rapper, who's the rapper? Can't think of his name. He goes and makes a song about the year, and then people make songs about the year and all the crazy shit that we've all laughed at or been like, what the fuck? You know, 2024 is gonna be crazy. No Diddy. You know, that's definitely gonna be in there. So I wonder what else is gonna be in there. Actually, I saw something about Diddy and Busta in the news. It was like it was on one of those tabloid sites, but I guess Busta Rhymes' bodyguard was talking about Diddy, Busta Rhymes, and Orlando Brown. What's his name? Orlando Brown. Yeah, Orlando Brown, poor thing. He's one of those people who they say he's crazy, but then is he crazy? Or has some crazy shit happened to this nigga? That's not what you do. Tell me, is Orlando crazy, or did some crazy shit happen to him? Because I'm not in those circles. I'm not around those people. A lot of people that we like to watch and listen to are in these circles, but they're not necessarily all speaking up. They heard the teacher when the teacher said, now let's not all speak at once. And then everybody went silent. But you know, that was an aside. Y'all can look that up if you want to, but it was just random that I saw Busta Rhymes and Diddy and Orlando in the same sentence. But the year of exposure, Busta Rhymes was exposing himself, right? Exposing himself for being the fraud that we all know him to be now. You know, if he is hip hop, then why is this his first time at Essence? Because Essence now is not the Essence of back in the day. So maybe there's a reason, dude. Maybe. This nigga just, let's just watch it again for shits and giggles, okay? Because look like y'all tired. He looks like he's tired. He looks like he's had a ham sandwich. Oh, you can't see my screen. Shit. Where'd my tab go? Here it is. Busta Rhymes talking about people looking tired.
New Orleans, y'all look like y'all tired. You motherfuckers ain't ready. I don't give a fuck how many seats is empty in this bitch.
You know, I would care about the empty seats, and I don't know if I would be telling everybody about the empty seats, but exposure, okay, you know, it's all, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool.
Everybody that's here, get the fuck up. Sir and miss.
Oh, damn.
Thank you.
You see it? Look at the crowd.
Excuse me, brother.
Look at this nigga's outfit. Look at the crowd.
Don't start with motherfucking me today.
Don't start with motherfucking me today.
What the fuck going on? What the fuck going on?
What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. We don't rock with this shit no more. Like, frauds are not welcome in the Black community, and it's taken a very long time for us to get that through our thick skulls. Ha! Just talking to myself here. But, you know, I'm also talking to some of y'all, so let's have an uncomfortable conversation about Trevor. Because, you know, Trevor George Smith, who's a Taurus like me, is a first-generation immigrant. He didn't ask to be here. He was born in Brooklyn. And a lot of people who have infiltrated our spaces, you know, it's like they're dormant fleas, right? Do I have to show y'all the video about the fleas for y'all to know what I'm talking about? Because if I gotta go there again, it's not gonna be the same video. It's gonna make you more uncomfortable. But if you don't get it, we might have to go there. You know, the video I showed, it told you that fleas are a cat and dog thing, but people have become an unsuspecting host. And while I don't think that we need to be dipping people in flea solution, I do think that there is a solution to the problem that is people who are fleeing here. But let's go to some basics.
So you've spotted a flea on your pet. To fight an infestation, you need to understand the 4 stages of the flea life cycle. Eggs fall off your pet and disperse into the surroundings of your home. In 1 to 10 days, larvae hatch from the eggs. Larvae thrive in dark areas like carpet fibers, between floorboards, and bedding. They enclose themselves into cocoons and can emerge as adult fleas 8 to 9 days later to jump on a host like your dog or cat. Treat and prevent infestations with products from your local pet specialty store or veterinary clinic. It's important to use a product that not only kills the fleas on the pet, but also helps prevent them from coming back.
Now, people, my biggest issue is that while we can laugh and kiki and haha and all the way free, I see you in the chat, it is funny. What's not funny is the fact, well, I just dropped my container. What's not funny is you guys won't be poetic with me. You know, niggas are the most poetic people on the planet. Harlem Renaissance and all of your favorite rappers and singers and songwriters, they're all niggas. And if that's true, then why won't you get poetic with me? Because all I'm saying is if you fleed, use a flea. And if that's the case, then we have a problem. Because in real time, there's so many people here and they didn't even do the things that they're supposed to do to be here. You know, we are fighting tooth and nail against a system that doesn't want us to be here, up against people who want to take our place and then some weird ass shit happens like Hung Kao. Do you know who Hung Kao is? You wouldn't. I'm gonna show you him. Well, I guess you probably already guessed that he is not like me or you. And okay, that's okay, because Hung Kao is a Republican running for Senate in Virginia. Here he is, Hung Kao. Look at him. That's as far as it'll zoom for us, but I think you get the picture. And in his biography, it says that he served in the Navy, so he's proud to be an American, right? He earned a bachelor's degree from the Naval Academy. He earned a graduate degree from the Naval Academy. And his career experience includes the Navy, obviously, right? Now, obviously, let's talk about it. I wanted to tell you about Hung Kao because he is going up against Tim Kaine. And it's so strange how people who are not from here can say these things. And because I don't like to misquote, I don't like to act like I know everything, I want to have it on the screen for you so you can see it for yourself. And I'm also going to read it because, well, why are you here if you're not here to listen to me talk about shit? So here we go. Who is Hung Kao? He is a refugee from Vietnam. Bum, bum, bum. He grew up in West Africa and returned to the United States in 1982. All right. So he's not even a first-generation immigrant. He is the first of his generation. It's very strange that this is how he describes himself, because when it asked about who he looks up to, he said that he looks up to his father because he endured hardships at a young age. He saw his way of life disappear before his eyes twice, but he kept fighting. His father never blamed anybody, and he taught them that you have to just keep fighting. And here's the kicker. My father grabbed the American dream for us with both hands and never let go. Okay, but it said that Hung Kao was born in Vietnam, so I don't understand. Oh, right. He's one of the immigrants, like first generation, not born here, but parents are not from here, but parents brought him here. He's one of those. Okay. Now that I'm up to speed, let's get back to these questions, because the people who are not from here have really powerful thoughts that I think are important. I think they're important because, well, I'll let you decide. 3 messages of Hung Kao's campaign. The first one says that we need to harness the American spirit of innovation that allowed us to create the light bulb, the automobile, the airplane, the radio, and the telephone. And I just can't help but notice that those are nigga inventions. Right? Or am I wrong? The light bulb is an invention of Thomas Edison, but I don't think we'd be able to use it if there was no Lewis Latimer. Okay. Sounds like a nigga invention to me, but let's keep going. The automobile. Who created the automobile? I want to say that they give the credit to Henry Ford, But if my memory serves me correctly, I want to say that the only way that we are having automobiles now in 2024 is because of the assembly line, which wasn't just in the automobile industry as much as it is how it got started, the assembly line thing. And I want to say that that's an invention, creation of George Washington Carver. Now, if my math is incorrect, you are here to correct me with evidence. Give it to me straight. Give it to me raw, but not like that, because some of y'all and y'all's kinks, I have to remember that I can't just use certain vocabulary because y'all take it and run with it. No, but just give it to me straight. No chaser. Like I like my whiskey. Just kidding. I don't like my whiskey with no chaser, but that's a whole other conversation for another day. Whiskey is an invention of us, though. I digress. Anyway, what are these other inventions that this guy is talking about? He said that we need to harness the spirit of the American people. The radio, the telephone, the airplane. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole list because it's always going to start with a white person that's getting the credit for. But that just means you need to do a little bit more digging. And I know you don't like to do any digging. That's why you will listen to the Broke Authority on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Oh, wait, that's a song. On Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm going to make a remix about how y'all listen to this nigga who just talks a lot. Solutions, though. What are the solutions? I bet you if you go on his chat and ask him about solutions, he's going to say, you're new here, right? But isn't that the people who would ask about solutions to problems that you're addressing? The new people? And why wouldn't you give an answer that makes sense? Why wouldn't you give an answer at all? Or is your non-answer an answer? Remember when I'm saying something, and remember when I'm not saying something, I'm saying something. And that is so fucking real because that's the bystander effect. A bystander is someone who witnesses some fuck shit, but then doesn't do anything. So then what are they saying? Are they saying that it wasn't as bad as it is, or they didn't see it? We have to pay attention to these things. That's why the messenger and the message, it matters. Because if you're doing things one way because you think things are one way and you find out that it's another way, well, you might have cognitive dissonance about the things that need to be done. You might start to deflect or project your issues onto solutions. You might find a problem with every different solution people come up with because you are a contrarian. Being contrary for contraries, asking questions just because you can. The person in class who is keeping us from going to lunch or recess, keeping us from getting out of school, the bell rang and there's that one person in class that just keeps asking questions. And I'm not saying that there are dumb questions, even though there are dumb questions. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have questions, but I am saying that there's a time and a place, and y'all just don't be using the time or place to be asking the questions that need to be asked. Nor are you directing your questions to a person who can answer them. Let me soapbox for a moment. Not like I haven't been soapboxing the whole night, but let me do another one. Because in my comment section, I've got people saying that, because the Broke Authority hasn't responded to the things that I'm saying, it means that he's past it, over it, not paying attention to it, ignoring it. And I don't disagree. I know he's ignoring it. He needs to ignore this. Him doing the thing that he did that would cause me to have such feelings about the things. It's because the message and the messenger don't match. And I just, for the life of me, can't understand why intelligent Black society would continue to allow certain things, except for and understand my role in echoing such a message. But all that means is y'all aren't ready. You're not ready to do certain things. No, y'all, it's the spectators doing that thing, right? It's the backseat drivers having a better way. It is, you think you're like me, but you're not. And the broke authority thinks he's like me, but he's not. It's strange because and when you accept that type of bipolarism, it comes with a wonderful area of gray, because it means that you can do the things that need to be done when things need to be done. You can have conversations that need to be held because you're strong enough for them. A lot of Black America is on demon time because it's easier than being on angel time. But what about the few and far between who can exist in both? What about them? Is it someone you'd fuck with, or is it someone you might tread lightly with? Because I find that soft targets don't exist around a person who can do both. You find that when the Kroger gets shot up and it's a bunch of old people, or you find that a school gets shot up and it's a bunch of children and people who don't have any protection. When a church gets shot up, you find that it's because the people there don't have weapons. Because why would you bring a weapon in church? Like, who is coming to get? Satan is not coming anywhere to that church to harm you. But didn't he? I mean, it's Dylan Roof, right? Dylan Roof is who went and shot up the church. Let me just make sure I get my white supremacists correct. Alrighty. He is known as the perpetrator in the Charleston church shooting. Killed 9 Black churchgoers at Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina, back on June 17, 2015. Such a strange day for such occurrences, but that's just a personal thing. Publicly, though, that was a place full of soft targets, because why would you bring a gun to church? Everybody knows that Satan is spiritual. That you don't need a gun to fight a spiritual war, but you do, because I believe the devil made rounds at that church that day. And if Black America couldn't get it that day, that all of our spaces need to be protected, then that is the day that Black America said, we're going to lose. But here we are in 2024, a good 9 years later, and I don't think we're losing. I don't know about the churches that have deacons of defense, but I have heard that some people are practicing their right to protect themselves in whatever environment they feel needs protecting. So if you're a person who's doing that in an environment where you didn't think you needed it, shout out to you for being prepared, because the fleas are here. But you're gonna say Dylan Roof doesn't look like me. He was easy to spot because he went to a Black church and he's a whole white man. And I swear to God, when I get that damn clip, that soundbite of Abraham Lincoln in that space talking disparagingly about Native Black Americans, And our sister, our Twitter sister, MF Kush, said that was a whole white man. I guess we're silly. Maybe that's why we're losing. Maybe Black America is too silly to be serious. Because, yeah, I mean, damn it, if I'm not a part of the problem. Oh, shit. Bum, bum, bum. Don't y'all like my voice effects? Okay, anyway, that was an Eve realization, because I'm sitting here joking about fleas and they really are harming us. They really are causing problems that we need to do something about. I remember when Hush Puppy had fleas, and I was so upset because we keep it so clean in here. Like, it was really bothering me that she had fleas, because where did she get them shits from? Like, where did fleas come from? But then my man is like, Eve, sometimes you're real slow, because you see people walking their dog up and down the street. But no, I don't see people walking their dogs up and down the street, because I'm not paying attention to shit like that. Not really. I mean, I see people. I see them outside. I see the dogs. I'm not really paying attention. You know, I got glasses, but I'm legally blind out here. Black American women, don't be legally blind out here without someone who can help you see the things. Because, well, we've got these groups like the NAACP, right? And they say, we need you in the fight. 115 years the NAACP has spent fighting against racism and discrimination in communities across the country. I sound like Joe Biden, right? 115 years the NAACP has spent fighting against racism and discrimination in communities across the country. That's a long fucking time to be doing some work to not have anything to show for it. So can somebody tell me what the fuck the NAACP has done for Black America? Because right here it says the NAACP is leading the fight for equity, for equality, for justice, and then I think it loops. Ensure that Black America continues to thrive. How? We can't thrive with equality, stupid. Equality does not mean that Black America is thriving. Justice for Black America does not include equality, stupid. This entire paragraph, which is all the way down here on the page, look, this is the top of the page. This is all the way where we are when we start talking about niggas, because I'm not exaggerating. This is the whole page. They got a convention that's coming up. They want you to join. They got the little known issue. They got the tabs, right? So I guess you could click on a tab. But what's the press statement? We honor in Henry Louis Gates Jr. Skip Gates is getting an award. Okay, he's done some work. All right, give him his award, fine. They are set to discuss critical resolutions, priorities for the Black community in 2024 and beyond. I promise you, when I click on that, y'all just gonna get mad. So let me click on it. Y'all are not uncomfortable enough tonight. Here are some key topics being discussed. Condemning the display and commercialization of the Confederate battle flag. Okay, so the South will rise flags, and you know, all those flags that you guys associate with the KKK. They want to condemn the display and commercialization. So they don't want it being made in mass anymore. They want accurate reporting of deaths in police custody. Doesn't sound like something specific to Black people. And the first one doesn't sound like something that really matters. Because if we were going to make this solutions based, then not only would you condemn the display, but instead of condemning the display, because, we will not forget our story, but you will when you start condemning them talking about it. Things like this, condemning the display and commercialization of the Confederate battle flag, is the beginning of banning books like The Delectable Negro. It's a slippery slope we slide on when we start allowing and condemning things if we don't have the conversations that need to be had. So if we were going to do anything, then maybe we would allow Black people to make some money off of the story that is the Civil War. You know how many reenactments happen over the country about different battles? And do you know that some niggas participate in it? Because that is the story. Really, truly. Like, there would be no win at that battle if there were no niggas. So the first infantry and the first Black troops and such, they get their shine in some of these places, because most of the people who understand history, they want to tell what actually happened. Racist white supremacists, jealous Negroes, people who don't understand history, or they understand it to our detriment, they want to keep us on a loop. Allowing niggas to make money from Confederate battles would be insane. Actually, let me take a commercial break real quick, because my youngest, he's so mighty, right? No, he just woke up because it's summertime and we don't regulate sleep schedules, and he didn't eat dinner. So while I go warm up his food, here's a song that's so relevant to why I've been talking for an hour plus. An hour plus.
If you're not going to speak up, you're the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, you're the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, you're the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, you're the ones who do. Vampires, they prey on your fears, so they must stay away. Vampires, they prey on your fears, control your atmosphere. Take your energy, what I see. Don't let them suck control your atmosphere. Distraction away from me, what I see. I am you, and control your atmosphere. Don't let them take your energy, what I see. Don't let them suck your energy, what I see. It's a distraction away from me, what I see. I am you, and you are me, what I see. If you're not going to speak up, you're the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, you're the ones who do.
No, really, if you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do, which is why I can still support things like Black Media Appreciation Month, even if you still want to call it New Black Media Appreciation Month in April. Because that is an energy that niggas need to be on. If you're not going to do the things and people doing the things, then you should give them some support, because it costs. Dr. Winters, that he is probably one of my favorite elders, right? And obviously I'm biased because I get to speak with him like every week about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. And in these conversations, I learned so much. I learned that the poor righteous teacher has to die, because if it doesn't, y'all niggas will be expecting everything to be given to you for free. And this ain't free, right? Or are we not listening to these rappers when they have these songs that we like? No, we're only listening to the ratchet music, right? That's what society will have you think. It will have you thinking that you support Sexy Red because she's the one who got the award, and nobody else really matters. Oh shit, that makes me think. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to the NAACP because fuck them. And they don't really. Actually, no. Let me finish it. Let me finish it out because it's real quick. Accurate reporting of deaths in police custody. It does not sound like they give a damn about the niggas, because if we're only 14% of the population, like they keep telling us, then how many people are not being reported when they die in police custody? Because we are seeing the hashtags. It's so many of them that we don't know all of their names. But if you were to turn on the news for any real length of time over the course of a week, you will see that it's all the same shit. Niggas killing niggas. Programs for people to pay attention to. Don't pay attention to Biden. Do pay attention to Kamala. Don't pay attention to Donald Trump, or do, depending on, which side of the bird we're on. But I think maybe 86% of the population might be more of a concern if they're dying in police custody, because we're not seeing those deaths. Not really. We're seeing Jamal dying in police custody because they give you the backstory of Jamal selling drugs since he was 2 years old, and his mama was a crack hoe, and that's why Jamal died in police custody. No, they don't want you to see this type of shit. Hold up. Because when I saw this, I was like, damn, they doing it like that. But they are doing it like that. They're doing it worse. Y'all. Here you go. This happened. Share this tab instead. Unmute.
These are the actions of a coward. Yeah, our officers are hurt. This is a tragic and sad incident. And I'll say this, these are the actions of a coward. Yeah, our officers are hurt. We have, immediately last night, we called out our peer support teams. Our officers they're professionals, but they're also human beings. And so they are doing their best that they can, but they're gonna stay focused on making sure that this family receives the justice that they deserve.
This tragic domestic incident played out on Kitty Hawk Road in Alameda on Wednesday night. Police believe the man shot and killed his wife, father-in-law, mother-in-law, and his 6-year-old son. A second 1-year-old boy was also shot and is in the hospital in critical condition. As you can imagine, neighbors are shaken up by this tragedy. Some tell me they heard the gunshots last night, but thought it was fireworks left over from the 4th of July. Unfortunately, it was much more gruesome than that.
I raised my kids here. I'm a mom, I'm a grandma. And you can't process how that happens. And I can't. Yeah. It's too much.
That's pretty unbelievable, we take for granted our safety here. Like I said, we go out for walks early in the morning, and we live with with our family. We know our neighbors, and to know that this type of violence took place here is pretty scary.
And police say the suspect did not resist, is in custody now, and is no longer a danger. We're told the family had recently moved to that home. The police chief says multiple shots were fired and that they found multiple firearms in the home. Police are not releasing the suspect's name yet, but tell me he will be charged with murder and attempted.
They're not releasing what? I'm sorry. It's like they want us to not see what's on the screen. They want us to ignore the things that are being said because they got a X over her face and her eyes just look a little low. And I don't think it's the weed. I don't know. They're Alameda. What's the population in Alameda?
This is a tragic and sad incident.
I would agree.
And I'll
Tragic
say this.
and sad.
These are the actions of a coward.
And
yeah, our officers
Chief
are hurt.
Joshi, where are you from, nigga?
They are. We have immediately last night we called out our peer support teams. Our officers they're professionals, but they're also human beings, and so they are doing their best that they can, but they're going to stay focused on making sure that this family receives the justice that they deserve.
Now, am I missing something?
This tragic domestic
Because it sounds like he's saying that the police are shaken up over this. Did y'all hear that too? I'm gonna go back one more time and then I'll leave it alone, I guess.
This is a tragic and sad incident, and I'll say this: these are the actions of a coward. Yeah, our officers are hurt.
Our officers are hurt. Okay.
They are. We have immediately last night we called out our peer support teams. Our officers they're professionals, but they're also human beings, and so they are doing their best that they can, but they're going to stay focused on making sure that this.
I'm sorry, y'all. What are the officers having issues focusing on? Is it the heat wave? You see it right there. They're saying that there's a heat wave happening in Alameda. Am I saying that right? Alameda. I don't know. Okay. Chief Joshi, what are you saying, nigga? Also, I know you're not a nigga, so I'm going to do better. I think I'm going to try to do better calling everybody nigga, because that's another problem. How am I delineating calling everybody nigga? I'm very lazy with my words, and you know, I grew up in a time where everybody is nigga, really. But you're not. So let me stop giving it to you. Let's see what you're saying.
This family receives the justice that they.
That little boy looks a little dark. He looks darker than dad, right? Is that dad? Is that their dad? The white guy on the bottom of the screen, is that the dad? He got blue eyes. Can you see his eyes? They're blue. Will it let me zoom? No. Stupid YouTube. All right, whatever.
They deserve.
This tragic domestic incident played out on Kitty Hawk Road in Alameda on Wednesday night. Police believe the man shot and killed his wife, father-in-law, mother-in-law, and his 6-year-old son.
All right, damn. The father-in-law, the mother-in-law, the wife, the son. All right, that's got to be why they got X's over their faces, right? Because they not here no more. Okay.
A second 1-year-old boy was also shot and is in the hospital in critical condition. As you can imagine, neighbors are shaken up by this tragedy. Some tell me they heard the gunshots last night, but thought it was fireworks left over from the 4th of July. Unfortunately, it was much more gruesome than that.
Yikes. So now it sounds like we've got somebody who's using their environment to cover up this dastardly deed. I'm not going to look up dastardly for you. So let's just say that killing this little 6-year-old boy and shooting this little baby is dastardly. And if you want to look it up, you can. But I won't do that to you because I'm not Jeremy. You know, he calls you guys intelligent Black society and then is telling you to look things up. Look dastardly. We know dastardly, right? You know how to spell it, right? I don't have to do it for you, right? Or
look it up.
Fine. Dastardly. It is an old word. People don't use it. Even the dictionary says that it's archaic, but it means wicked and cruel. Okay, so can we agree? Shooting for your wife, your baby, your in-laws, and another baby is wicked and cruel. Can we agree there? If we can, then I'll continue playing this news clip because we're supposed to be learning from all of these things. And shout out to @ICRacist on Twitter, on X, because this is where I got this video from. They like to expose racists and pedophiles, and I'm all for it. Let's go.
I raised my kids here. I'm a mom, I'm a grandma. And you can't process how that happens. And I can't. Yeah, it's too much.
That's pretty unbelievable, and you know, we take for granted our safety here. Like I said, we go out for walks early in the morning, and we live with with our family. We know our neighbors, and to know that this type of violence took place here is pretty scary.
And police say the suspect did not resist, is in custody now, and is no longer a danger. We're told the family had recently moved to that home. The police chief says multiple shots were fired and that they found multiple firearms in the home. Police are not releasing the suspect's name yet, but tell me he will be charged with murder and attempted murder. And the police chief says the father-in-law made it out of the home, went to the neighbor's home to ask for help, and made some statements that they are now reviewing. It's unclear what led up to this tragedy, but just so sad. And as you can imagine, so many neighbors have come up to us and are just so saddened by what happened. Live in Alameda, Gloria Rodriguez, ABC 7 News.
Okay, that was Gloria Rodriguez. I feel like her name's supposed to have some rolling R's in it, right? Like Gloria Rodriguez. I don't know. They like to take off the extras and then sound very American. This shooting happened on Wednesday, and the man accused in killing the family, his name is Shane Killian. He's 54 years old. And here we go. Here's an update to the situation, because I saw that on Twitter earlier, and it was just very strange how Chief Joshi was explaining things. I don't know why the officers are having such a time with the crime. Like, does crime not happen in Alameda? Because I don't even want to say I call cap. I just don't understand why they are talking to us like we don't understand English. Like, we understand simple things. We understand right and wrong. We understand personal space, right? During the experiments of 2020, we were not the people who had to worry about social distancing, nor were we the people who had to worry about not having cleaning supplies or knowing how to disinfect our living spaces. That wasn't us. As much as you might have been in an area with a lot of people who are not from here, who don't have the same hygienic practices, people who don't do the same cleaning. Because I've seen the reels and the shorts, and a lot of these places, they're like fabulosoing some dirt carpet road floor. This shit is strange. I don't know how you fabuloso a dirt floor, because it's like all dirt. But in real time, these bitches, they got their shoes off and they got the fabuloso and they got the bucket and they mopping the shit and sweeping the shit out of some dirt floor that has a dirty ass mattress with no sheets on it in one room that also has, an area to cook. But I don't see any area to use the bathroom. That might be why Trump called some of these places shitholes. Because if you have to dig a hole to take a shit, then, it kind of fits. Alameda is a city in California, like a lot of cities in that part of the country that have an issue with the people who are not from there. And I don't know, but in real time, it looks like this man on the screen that they didn't want to identify at the time, Shane Killian, he looks like one of these 13th generation fleas, right? We can give him the colonizers some latitude. A lot of them have been here for generations, but they're not from here, and they're the product of a parasite that we've never dealt with. It's like one of my favorite songs is 40 Acres by T.I. And, you can like T.I. or not, or you can like Killer Mike, who I think is also on the song. You can like these rappers or not. I don't give a shit. But the song, there is a lyric in the song, and I just am like, damn, we can put in the art, but we don't really feel like that. You niggas ain't outside. But this nigga said, anybody interrupt freedom, kill him. Okay. I mean, that's pretty bold. But are y'all outside? Are y'all listening to these raps? Is this just the music that I listen to? I mean, I don't know. But he also said, I'm going to tell y'all what the ancestors should have done when they seen the first boat. Killed every man, child, woman. Killed every damn thing on it. Killed everything if it looked European. Send it back to the queen. All right. Also, we've got a little bit of discrepancy of the where of what we're talking about, because he's talking about Kemet, but I'm going to say that the United States has got to be Kemet 2.0. If y'all know our story, our ancient story, and at least what Kemet represented, where it was and the seat of power and how everything kind of revolved around it. But, that's an ancient story. We don't have to go so far back. You've got Mr. Cal running for Senate in Virginia, and he's saying that we need to tap into the American spirit. And then he lists a bunch of nigga inventions. And yes, I mean Black American inventions. And he's not from here. He's from Vietnam. Part of his policies are securing the border. So God damn it, if people who are from here understand the importance of securing the borders, what are y'all doing? And why don't you have the same care? Oh, you're right. Demon time is flea tendencies attempting to absorb our mind. You are so right, all the way free. And your name in the chat is so fitting, because it's like not a little bit free, not half free. No, all the way free. Like, that's great. That's some energy that is authentic, because it accepts the fact that we aren't there yet. That's like almost Black America. I might rudely nickname us almost until y'all niggas get it together. And I don't need all, but I do need some. Some people do need to start doing some things that make sense for me to accept how slow it's going. because I don't accept the slow movement of our reparative justice fight. But I get it. 100,000 people are subscribed to a nigga who will talk about stepdads for hours. Hours? This dude's gonna talk about stepdads for hours. And for what? He's gonna show you an article or two about a child. I want to say it's Lil Durk and his stepdad who made the news this week. How the fuck do you spell Lil Durk? See, I don't even listen to these people, but this is a problem. People in mainstream society are getting platforms to be themselves. You know, I don't necessarily think they expect their private and home lives to be in the spotlight as much as this is what they chose. They chose the spotlight, so all of their life is in the spotlight. Oh, I guess this is an accountability moment for me. To my family, you know, I know y'all don't want to be in the spotlight, but I'm sorry. I can't help it. Something inside of me is just, it's just doing these things that, you know, the math has to math or else. And then, well, gonna have to do some digging, some investigating, and maybe playing spy is not the best way because you get burned as a spy. Maybe it's not playing spy as much as you just want to make sure that the wizard behind the curtain has the magic. You know, if you can make a bitch and a lion and a tin man and a scarecrow walk down any road, that's pretty fucking powerful, right? Like, what type of drugs? But no, I digress. No, 100,000 people are tuned in, not tonight, obviously, because this is the night where you guys get to put on your blinders. Oh, I don't listen to that channel. No. You know, I wanted to label tonight the failure of the new black media, but I just hate when people catch strays. I hate casualties of war because I guess if you don't start, nothing won't be nothing, right? That's why you got people like Livingston academics saying that if I go down, we all going down. Because let's face it, you know, demon time means that you are existing in places that you know some shit is not what you would want publicized. But you're outweighing it. You're outweighing it up against, and I didn't mean outweigh, I mean you're out here in the world weighing it up to things that it's not going to equate to. It's going to be imbalanced because we're listening and following rules of an imbalanced people. But yeah, Lil Durk, it says his 10-year-old son shoots stepfather with his own gun. So I'm sure the Broke Authority is going to have this as a talking point, and then he'll probably have some other examples of stepfathers getting shit on because it is a thankless role. But God damn it, parenting in general is a thankless job. You know, it's the people who don't have children that have the most to say about what needs to be done when children are involved. And I would say very uncomfortably that those might be fans. You know, them freaky ass niggas who need to stay their asses inside because real time they weren't outside throwing the ball with dad. No, they weren't outside shooting the rock with their uncle. They was inside because they got 2 left feet, or their allergies got the best of them, or they get winded when they run up and down the court. You know, they're not stronger than a barbell. They can use a barbell, though, you know, to beat bitches, but can't use it in the way that makes sense, you know. Oh. If you got a belly like this, you might want to stay inside because your clothes don't fit to beat or not beat. That's who 100,000 plus people listen to for their news on Saturday and Sunday and any day that is a day that has news, because let's face it, news it's an everyday thing, right? Wrong? I'm wrong. I'm right. I'm wrong. It's both, Eve. No, I got people in my comments saying that he's not paying attention to me, but then he's got a whole program about stepfathers. And, every time this man shits on an aspect of the Black family, I'm going to feel personally offended. Because, well, why don't you? If you know our story, let's go back in time to slavery. Oh, I got some music for that. Let's travel back. Our spaceship. We're gonna go back to a not so happy time. Now we've got some happy music playing. We're going prior 1865, right? It's got to be before the war. Let's say 1526. Why not? Their written story says that Spanish people got over here in 1526, and then after that it was the English, and now you've got Jamestown. Shout out to Virginia having the first settlement of infestation. But I gotta hand it to our climate and our environment, because do you know that they was eating each other? They did. Look it up yourself. If you look up Jamestown, the first time around it didn't do the things that they wanted it to do because they ran out of food and it was cold. It was cold. Yeah, it was cold, all right. It was so cold that it was a kill or be killed situation. It was that nigga died and we buried him, but we don't have no meat no more, so we're gonna start there. And let's just hope we make it to the spring. But they didn't make it. And that colony failed. They tried again, though. They seen that there were some people around. And I guess, look, shout out to the ancestors. I guess the first time around, they did do the things that needed to be done. But they didn't do it. They don't know how to be angels and demons. I guess back then, foreigners could only be so much of a threat. Shit, you can't even exist in the winter time without killing each other. Let me just take a step back and observe. And I guess in their observation, they said these people are benign. They can't do anything to us. I guess if we ever come across them again, we won't let them eat each other. That is a mindset that I think Black America has had for a very long time, because, well, it's the love, the love of living things. They showed you Pocahontas and the color of the wind, and everybody loves Pocahontas, right? Because it's their favorite tragic interracial relationship. Everybody knows the story of Pocahontas, but they like Disney. We like Disney because it gives it to us in a way that is palatable. It makes society look less bad when you can see the good in some people because they look like some other people. Blonde hair, blue eyes. That's only a thing because, well, one person who didn't have blonde hair or blue eyes went to war about it and started killing a whole bunch of people. You know, you can make people see the beauty in that when you go to war over it. On the opposite side of things, you can make people accept conditions that are insane because it's in their face. Joe Biden, when he first got elected, he told us that racism was a thing of the past because look at all the interracial relationships in commercials. Like, people don't know that commercials are designed to sell you on something. What? Okay. No, this is just me. I know. I'm just Eve, and I just be having these thoughts, but I find that I wanted to label tonight's show the failure of the new Black media, but I didn't want the casualties associated with saying such a thing, because Professor Black Truth is probably the template that Jeremy used to kayfabe off of. You know, the Broke Authority has been doing this for like 20 years, he says. 20 years. This is literally sounding like that HR 40 shit. You know, when he played Jim Clyburn talking about HR 40 and how it's been a work in progress and we got to let the time do the time and we got to let the things do the things. And, you know, I'm sorry. Old people are telling us not to listen to the old people, but you guys don't know who's old and who's young. Or I guess there's no definition of who's old and who's young, but we do have a generational divide, and now we got some more casualties because all of the people in these generations that we've been told not to listen to, they're not all coons. They're not all bad. They're not all olders. They're not all against us. Most of them niggas is like Joe Biden. I mean, they ready to go to bed. Literally, like they're tired. They've been dealing with racism, white supremacy for as long as they've been alive. And because it is a stressful environment, we get tired way quicker. But it is that stress that creates these diamonds that people keep using as an energy source. I know a parasite can't leech off of a diamond. No, but can a flea take some wealth that's not theirs and use it to their benefit, to our detriment? Absolutely. Can a person who fleed come over here, get voted for, and start to enact policies that would shit on the native people of the land? Absolutely. Our Congress is in its 118th session, and in that session, 15% of them are immigrants or first-generation immigrants. That number is insane. But that is where we are. If we don't do something about the fleas, it's all gonna be flea. Like, let me backtrack. The hosts, the dogs and the cats and the people, we gotta treat the dogs and the cats and the people. Because if we don't, well, we're gonna have this problem that we've been having where we are moving uncontrollably, doing things that don't make sense. You know, if your dog is scooting around on the floor on its ass, like scooting its ass across your carpet, you might want to check it for worms. But y'all don't want me to call them worms, do you? I mean, I guess it fits. They squiggle and wiggle and they just know how to squirm out of a situation. But I can't help but laugh because the shit is funny to me. And when I laugh at shit, y'all think I'm being funny, and I'm not. I'm being dead ass. It is. It's sad. Look, I saw this. Damn, I saw so much, and then I talked so much that now I have to make executive decisions about the fuckery that I want to show you, because it was so much this week that, well, I've had some thoughts, and in a couple of months, people are going to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala. And the only way that that doesn't happen is if niggas stay home. Because white people are not voting for Joe Biden and Kamala. The only people voting for Joe Biden and Kamala just got here yesterday. I'm sorry. Just kidding. They're not voting for Joe Biden and Kamala either, because they said secure the borders. They said, we don't want any more. America's full. And those prepaid debit cards that you're giving out, you're giving out too many of them. You need to keep them and then redistribute those funds to the people who made it. You know, have y'all ever asked any immigrant who did it the right way how they feel about the people who are getting benefits for doing it the wrong way? Can y'all do that this week? Over the next week, before you come back and listen to me go on and on and on about some shit that grinds my gears and makes me uncomfortable. So I'm going to talk to you guys for, a couple hours and make you uncomfortable. Can you ask an immigrant? Because don't get mad at me, Norfolk, but look, I used to be at this gym, and at the gym, it was like my happy place. But at my happy place, I don't know that I saw a lot of us there. And that didn't make me happy. It showed me in real time that Black America doesn't give a shit about their health, wellness, or anything that makes sense. Not until they get old. Because backtrack. I did see a lot of older Black American, Native Black American. They don't identify as any of that shit. They're just Black, and I've seen a lot of them. I think they're called silver seniors or some shit. And I think that it's a program or a discounted benefit for being, old. So yes, I see a lot of old Black people, but I never saw, my age group at the gym. Not really. I never saw us in my age group at the gym. And it's so strange because the gym I go to is right next door to an HBCU. You would think that there would be a bunch of niggas there, right? Because it's right next to a historically Black college university. I can't trick you guys, right? Nope, you guys are as intelligent as I know you are, because you were saying, Eve, there ain't no niggas at HBCUs anymore. Remember Kamala? Okay, you're right. You're right. I remember Kamala. I just talked about her. She went to Howard. She is the prime example of what I'm talking about. And I mean, let's just face it. I've gone and worked with whole white people who got affirmative action results at the same HBCU. So I get it. Some of these places are gone. But who I did see at the gym? I saw a lot of young white women, and I don't necessarily mean American. I mean, they were white passing. If you didn't talk to them, you might think that they were white American, but some of them had some hips that aren't from here. You start talking to them and you're like, oh, okay, it's Colombian. Or oh, okay, it's Slavic or some sort of Caucasus Asian type of white. Their features are a little different, just a little bit, if you're paying attention. And then if they're fresh off the boat, they still sound straight like where they're from. So, if you never talk to them, you just think that it's just a bunch of white girls, but you start having a conversation and you're like, oh, okay. Yep. Your husband's in the military. And then, yeah, their husband's probably in the military because that's where they got found and brought over here. And, they're like a one of the loopholes. They didn't quite do it the right way, but they did do it a way before they got here. They did some things to get some benefits. And, you know, if you're an American who wants to extend your benefits like that, I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying, look at the shit that you've done, allowing people to just come over and lay claim. Look, this is what we're dealing with. And yeah, I did executive decide what I was going to talk about so I don't perpetrate and then talk to y'all for no 4 hours. But here's something that I wanted to show you about the desperation coming here from other places. And I guess I'm sharing it from Tariq's page on X, but I saw it on someone else's page first. I don't remember where I saw it, but here we go. Check this out, right? I need a husband. I'm tired of singleness. No, I'm sorry. I need a husband. Okay, I don't know where she's at, so let's just throw that out there. Let's just act like this is the first time I'm watching this, okay? Okay, is that fair? We're all watching it together for first time. I need a husband. I'm tired of singleness. I'm 39 years old. Very soon I'll enter menopause. I need a husband in my life. No matter what you are doing, I'm going to marry you. Are you a barrel pusher? Are you a beggar? Are you a conductor? Please marry me. Please, I'm going to sponsor the marriage. I'm going to give you money to pay my bride price. I'm going to sponsor the wedding with my money. Please come and marry me. I'm tired of singleness. Please. I'm 39 years old. Please come and marry me. I'm getting old. I'm getting old. Please. I need a husband in my life. I need a man in my life. I'm tired of singleness. Please, I don't want to buy myself. I no longer. Sorry, I've been losing my tab. I'm not barbelling her. I'm not doing that. What I'm doing is identifying some things, or at least highlighting some things. God damn it, it's on the Summer Jam screen. It's summer. Let's jam, right? Rock out. That's what Busta said. All right, so she's 39 years old. She has a huge accent. So I'm going to say that she's not here. So this is not a flea. No, what she's doing is she's saying, I will take a flea. Please flee to me. And damn it, look at the fucking motherland. Infested with a bunch of fleas. Oh, y'all thought I was only talking about America. No, bitch, I'm talking about everywhere. Everywhere has a flea infestation. And while America needs a flea bath, it's because it's my geopolitical state. It's literally where I exist. And I don't like itching. Now, you other niggas might like itching. Case in point, this bitch on your screen said, I don't care what you do. And she really meant that. You could be a doctor. She would love that. A lawyer? Oh, hell yeah. A police officer? Okay. She doesn't give a shit if you are Joe the plumber. Because what's wrong with being a plumber? The trash man? They make decent money, Eve. She doesn't give a fuck if you don't have a job. Because she said, this is what she said. Because I know y'all would be like, Eve, you just barbelling her. She ain't really say that. People don't really say that. No, she said, I will pay my dowry, my own, I will pay it. She's 39 years old. She will pay the money to you to marry her. Because that's what the dowry is, right? It's when the family gives the husband to be some stuffs. And, or no. That's when the husband to be pays the family. Hold up. I know. I am going to look it up, and you don't have to tell me because I really fumbled the ball there. But,
Look it up.
Fine. Dowry. How do you spell that shit? Dowry. Oh, I spelled it right. Did I spell it right? Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Dowry. Why aren't you giving me the definition dictionary? Okay, here we go. A dowry is a payment such as property or money paid by the bride's family to the groom or his family at the time of marriage. Okay, so I was right the first time. The dowry. She said that my family is not paying anybody for me. Or maybe they don't have any money, or maybe she doesn't have anybody. So lots of caveats, but it doesn't matter because she's saying, I will pay it, me, myself, and I. Her favorite group is De La Soul. Okay, I'm sorry. No, she said she will pay the dowry and she will buy the things. She will pay for the wedding because she's 39 years old and she needs a husband. And I'm sorry because it was funny to me when I watched it the first time. I know I told you this the first time I watched it. It was funny when I watched it the first time for real, because a lot of people are in relationships that they don't want to be in. So, she could easily, find somebody if she were looking a different way, right? I paused it here because the same woman will throw on like 28 pounds of makeup and cake soap and present herself to a flea, give all her shit away to a flea because she doesn't want to be alone. And that shit bothers me because, well, who really wants to be alone? I don't think anybody wants to be alone, but at what cost? At what cost? Okay, change of person, but not really place or idea. Here we go.
This 103-year-old woman is a virgin and she regrets it. Yes, you heard that correctly. Mariam has maintained her purity for over a century and is unable to find a lover. But hold on, there's more to her story. She once met a white man whom she fell in love with. They had big plans together. Despite having a wonderful time, she chose to remain virgin until marriage. However, the boyfriend mysteriously disappeared. She turned down other African men who showed interest in her and waited for her man. But to this day, he has not returned, nor has he even communicated with her. She stayed celibate, but in the end, she felt betrayed. What happened to the boyfriend?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Hey, Russell, she's a hard-looking 39. Let's go back because I think you might have just got here, so I'm happy you came. I'm probably going to be ending this pretty soon because, constructive conversations don't last all night. I'm not here for the overnight workers as much as if you work overnight and I'm happen to be live and you want to listen to what I have to say, I'm here. But, I don't know if I can get you through your whole shift, but I do have stuff. There's a lot of content on my channel if you wanted to, just do that if he was one of those overnight workers. No. The reason that I had to pause, Russell, not only because I'm happy that you joined us tonight, but because, look, that was a hard 39. Let me introduce you to 110, baby. Look at that. Does she look her age? If anybody else in the chat, and you weren't here earlier, does this woman look like she's 110 years old? Can I get a show of hands? If she looks 110, you can say, yeah, she looks 100. If she doesn't, you can say, no, she doesn't. I'm not going to tell you to throw no emojis in the chat because we're grown-ups here, right? And it's okay. You don't have to answer. But in my humble opinion, this woman who was born in 1914 looks like my grandma's age. And I don't know, shout out to my grandmas, but Nah, I know she might look better than my grandma's because, like, you can't say that a hard life doesn't age you because it does. And that's my point. Miss Ethel, Miss 110 years old, hailing out of Waverton, Maryland. She looks good for her age, 1 of 10. I don't know about the rest of her siblings, but she has a legacy coming from her. And she'll say it's the grace of God and stuff like that. And I'm not here to say that it's not, because to each his own beliefs, right? Some people will pray to the same name for your demise. So, whose God is stronger? Is it the same God? Is it no God? I don't know. That's not this conversation tonight. Tonight, Russell, I had to stop because you said that was a hard 39. And all I'm saying is some of these people, we're not giving it the appropriate respect. They're what they're fleeing from, God damn it. Like, listen, she's not a flea, but what is it that she's dealing with that's so bad where she is that she is saying, flee to me, right? It's understood that the motherland has been infested with people who don't exist comfortably in that and those environments, because they're not fleeing to North Africa, really. They're not fleeing to the mountains of the moon. Not really. No, they're fleeing to the hottest places, the fucking desert, places where you get black if you're outside for any real length of time. That's why them niggas is black over there. She not black, but she might have been using some cake soap. She kind of has like a copper going on, but okay, I don't know. Makeup and cake soap will make you look different. And look, I'm not saying that she looks bad, because she doesn't. White people who are 39 years old look like death. The most recent English monarch that just died looked like he was about $1 billion. Joe doesn't look like he's 81 or 77 or in any age that doesn't start with a 1. So, but she's 39, a hard 39, and she is begging somebody, anybody.
Oh my.
Uh-oh.
I'm married. Kids. But nobody. To marry me. Nigeria. Yes, please, I'm calling everybody out. Please come and marry me.
Okay, I think I'm back. I don't know. If you're still here with me, that's cool as shit. If it glitched on you, just hit refresh or something. I guess it's a lot of bandwidth being used over here tonight, so just gonna have to excuse the glitch. But I do think I'm back. Let me just check my audio. Are you there? There it is. Okay, so we don't have any echo. We also don't have me glitching any. Thank y'all for being patient while I worked that out. Yeah, I was talking about the 39-year-old because everybody has agreed that the motherland, the continent, continues to be raped for resources, and then they get confused and they wonder why. Right? She said that she was calling out the Nigerians, so I guess she might be in Nigeria, right? I'm hesitant to share shit all over again because it seems like gonna have more problems all over again. But I guess I'm a habitual line stepper. And as I'm in my home, step the line. Okay, here we go. I know. It's taking a long time. It's taking a long time for me too. Shit. I feel like that little girl in the bathroom. Just need to cuss for a moment. Okie dokie. Here she is again. The 39-year-old who wants a flea. She's so lonely that she wants. We're not going to listen to you all over again.
Very soon I'll enter monopause. I need a husband in my life. No matter what you are doing, I'm going to marry you. Are you a barrel pusher? Are you a beggar? Are you a conductor? Please marry me. I'm tired of seeing goodness. Please, I don't want to buy myself. I no longer.
I'm muted. Okay. So why the fuck is my tech not doing the things that it needs to be doing right now? It's supposed to be muted.
If you have a brother that needs a wife, please let me know. I don't care about what you are doing. Even if you don't have a job, I'm going to sponsor it. I need a man in my life. Please, I'm 39 years old. Look at me. Please, 39 years old without a child. 39 years old without a husband. 39 years old with no relationship.
I wasn't sure if the reason that she was unable to find a man is because she's got babies already, but clearly she said she doesn't have any children, so she's not one of these single moms that the Broke Authority would have you believe is out here accepting the lowest of the low, trying to get a flea. Remember, a flea is a parasite that attaches to its host and sucks its blood. And, it is hard out here for a pimp, but she's not out here pimping. She ain't even in the streets, because I guess if she were, she could have somebody by now. Or maybe her streets are dirt roads and maybe it's different. You can't be in the dirt road streets because, well, I don't know. But then it led me to this woman here who is in her hundreds, but she don't look as good as the one from here. Here we go. Here's two different 100s. One of them looks good and the other one looks like not. And honestly, I'm not saying she doesn't look good for 100 and whatever the fuck age she is either, because she does. Like, she don't really have a lot of wrinkles. Her face is fullish. She got something going on with her eyes. Maybe that's like that old black people glaucoma thing going on, or maybe they just black is brilliant, you know. Maybe they just in the sunken place. I don't know. The eyes are the window, right?
This 103-year
This is doing the same thing that Twitter was doing back when I would have spaces where we would have uncomfortable conversations and it would mute me or unmute me, and I didn't push any buttons. StreamYard, get your shit together. God damn it. I'm paying for the service. Anyway, Russell, I felt sorry for her too, because it sounds like she will take anybody. So if she will take just anybody, what is wrong with her? Because I'm not her. I'm not the black woman that doesn't think that we are infallible, that we don't do no wrong, that there aren't some batshit crazy bitches out here who probably need to be dealt with a very long spoon, you know, or something, a very long stick. I don't know. To beat or not to beat. You know, the Broke Authority said that since men and children get beat, women should get beat. And then I think about this woman, and it sounds like she would accept Jeremy. So I guess she just needs to call into the business broadcast and let him know that she's available for the things. What things? Y'all know the things. You know, like these things.
I am the authority, and you need to send me your cash apps. Also, you need to send me your nudes. Also, if you don't want to do this, I'm going to have to ban you from my chat.
I really think that she has some nudes for him. Probably. She said she would accept anybody. Look, if y'all look at the debauchery that comes over here from places where people are fleeing, it gets really bad in the sex department because children are being raped by their family members. And I don't mean like their long lost cousin. I'm talking their dads, uncles, their parents are selling them into prostitution because of a hope for a better life. God damn it. Didn't these niggas learn hundreds of years ago that you don't sell your children into anything that you can't see what is going on? Like, I understand maybe you put your child in a sleepaway summer camp. They get an experience away from home. Maybe you're a parent who has a lot of resources and you want your child to experience schooling in a state or in a place where it's an overnight school, you know, boarding school and such. Maybe you're not here all the time and you need them to have some stability in their lives. But yes, Russell, save the fucking babies. Fridays are about protecting the minis from predators. And I find that a lot of the debaucherous behavior that these people are fleeing from is very predatory. It is dangerous. And these are things that we've been ignoring for far too long. We're ignoring it because these niggas have melanin and they don't burn in the sun. But these niggas have been infected with fleas. Ha! Y'all thought I was saying the fleas are these niggas. They're not. No, these niggas, our distant cousins, our distant relatives. Shout out to Nas and Damian Marley for having an epic album that kind of shows the wonderful things that we can do when the cousins come together and they haven't been able to do those things. You know, they parts of families that don't rock with each other anymore because of time, jealousy, distance. You start to forget certain things when you never go back home. But inside of this forget that a lot of Black Americans have about the motherland, we still remember. We still remember having to fight tooth and nail and having to get things through the mud and what it is to be Black in America. And when we see someone who is going through the same thing, we will vote for civil liberties versus our specific reparative justice, which is not a civil liberty as much as it's a debt that needs to be paid. Like, the new Black media has failed us because it's so simple, right? Lauryn Hill said that, right? She said it could all be so simple, but you niggas rather make it hard. And what am I talking about? The government knows who is supposed to be here, knows who has been here, knows who's here now, even though they're not supposed to be here. They know, because trust and believe, when they cut the stimulus check, illegals was not getting no stimuluses, even though they've got their bank accounts and they could have gotten some accidental stimuluses. No, they didn't do that. Nigga, if you made $1 more than the threshold to get a stimulus, your ass didn't get a stimulus. And you beat the target by $1. That's the fight of Black America. You make too much money to get government assistance, but in real time, the fleas will tell you that you're already getting reparations because the government is giving you housing arrangements and they're giving you health insurance and they gave you some internet and phones to be able to talk to your loved ones, no matter if, a natural disaster happens and the phone lines are down. They didn't give you home phone service. No, they gave you cell phone service. They gave you a device that will track your whereabouts, will track your thoughts, because let's face it, you niggas didn't really read the 48 Laws of Power and you talk too much. That's me. But now my conversations are going to be limited to what you've been hearing. We got to protect the minis. Mighty, say hi to the people. Hi. You got to protect the mighties of the world, because if you don't, people like the Broke Authority are going to have their hands in their development. He says every time he's live that this is a program. And if you don't call it a program, you will be banned. Yes, the nigga's onto something. He's right. Because when you program behaviors, ideas, energy, that is what will come out. It's like science, but like technology. But because technology is like science on crack, well, you can have a lot of layered conversations, and inside of the layers you can understand the Black man's experience. If you're a Black man, you can articulate the ins and outs of what it means to be Black in America if you've had time to study words and etymology. And if you a fan and you ain't never been outside, why wouldn't you know a lot of words? Why wouldn't you be able to overcome your lisp? It does make sense why you wouldn't have been able to overcome that belly, because you don't go outside, so people can't tell you that, hey, you got a belly, that shit don't fit in your pants. You might want to do something about it. But the same person who's grossly and morbidly overweight will tell bitches that a size 16 is too big. But maybe it is. Look, here's a leveled, layered conversation that you guys weren't expecting me to have with you tonight, because and when I be on Demon Time, I start to have thoughts like, maybe Jeremy, the Broke Authority, doesn't want a size 16 or plus, because if they're laying in the same bed, it might break. He doesn't want to spend the extra dough on the plus size commodities. They make beds for really heavy people. you know, the My 600-Pound Life, they used to be like specially made type beds, but now there's a whole industry for it because fat is the way to go for the American people. You know, Europe, they like to joke America as an unfit and fat people. And then America likes to put that on Black people because we know how to cook food and make it taste good. And some of the ingredients are drugs. Let's just face it. You know, it's drugs. Sugar, drugs, wheat, food, drugs in a different form. But sugar is definitely one of them chemicals that is created in a lab that, and I'm talking white sugar, right? You know, because you start using coconut sugar in your sweet potato pie and you might not be invited to the cookout. You know, you can't just substitute one thing. You kind of have to do the whole thing, and you still have to present it to the niggas as is. You know, I have the hardest time sometimes with the cookies that we sell, Just Vegan, because they're vegan, right? Or at least they're plant-based. They're not vegan. And inside of plant-based, people think that plant-based desserts taste a certain way. So a lot of times when I'm doing like taste tests and letting people sample, I don't even tell them that it's vegan. I just tell them that it's cookies. You know, you want an apricot-filled butter cookie? I guess that'd be the closest description. And they go, what the fuck is that? And I show it to them. That looks interesting. And they do. They're like Linzers, right? There's already a cookie out there that does that. It's the butter cookie. It's got the fruit filling on the inside. Shout out to the Tether who spied on me and my family for a month at the request of the Broke Authority. Because, you know, that's some next level cult shit when you can get people in your audience to go spy on people. But I get it. You know, I already told you that some people are angels and some people are demons and some people know. And I don't know if you fuck with the people who accept both sides about themselves, because it means I can turn it off and turn it on. And as hypocritical as it may seem, it might be an example that you guys need to see. Why? Because it means that if I fuck up, you're going to see the accountability. But it also means that when I'm right about something, you're going to have the evidence to back up and validate the accuracy of my rightness. And right now, you know, it took a long time for me to call Gladys a flea because I was on the internet defending this bitch. But, you know, in real time, she ghosted me, and then she sneaks back in. She wants to be my friend. So I'm like, well, maybe you ghosted me on some, I don't know. I'll be rubbing people the wrong way. And nobody really liked when I was saying tether and flee together. You know, nobody likes when Tariq says tether. So I started saying flee and you niggas lost your mind. But my definition, his definition, we're just using the English language with the definitions that have already been given to the words. Y'all are the ones having issues with simple English. But I get it, right? You're listening to someone who's telling you to look it up about words that you already know because, well, I guess he wanted to do that thing, make sure we're all having the same conversation. But no, he tells you to look it up and then doesn't really give a damn about the understanding of it all. 3 hours. America needs a flea bath. You know, I guess when I get the strike from YouTube saying that I've got medical misinformation because I'm not about to take the country and put it in a bathtub and give it a flea bath, no. But I do want the people who have fleas to do something about it. You know, I guess the people with the fleas, you know, are melanated cousins from distant lands. They've been bitten by the flea. You know, you might not even see it. Busta Rhymes has been able to exist in our community for years. Y'all didn't know he had been bitten. Y'all just knew that he's from Brooklyn. And then in the recent past, we started asking about people's parents and where they're from. Now you find out that people's parents are from the islands, or you find out that people's parents are from the motherland. And then it's like, well, damn, shit, when you got here and you started doing these things, man, the music sounded like this before you got in it, and now it sounds like this. And I know they just employees, because really it's the fleas that are controlling everything. Really, it's the fleas. It's not their hosts. The hosts are involuntary servants of the flea. And just like earlier in the chat, Rakeem was talking about Europeans from hundreds of years ago who fled. Yeah, that mentality is still here today. It's still around. Hosts across the world are picking up this flea behavior and moving involuntarily. Look, man, I don't think your ancestors would have wanted you to flee as much as they would have wanted you to stay and fight. I mean, if Shaka Zulu can fight a bunch of niggas and the English, I think it's the English, Portuguese, I don't know. If he can fight all them people, why can't that be an example y'all niggas use? No, it's because the hosts over here on this land never left. And that's why the new black media has failed us. Because I said I was going to make it simple for you. It's simple. Everybody knows who's who. And we're having stupid ass arguments about what to call ourselves. We're having stupid ass arguments about having laws specific to us when the actual laws, if they were applied appropriately and correctly, would protect us. You know, our reparative justice being tangible only makes sense because our ancestors were never paid. You know, if they were paid and then we still had to deal with redlining and, you know, all this, all the bad stuff that people want to say is why they're owed reparations. You know, they got here after slavery, but they dealt with the nigga stuff too. You know, all that stuff, like we were paid, there'd be a very different conversation. But we haven't even got there yet. The new black media, while it should be able to give us news that we can use in real time, so shout out to Professor Black Truth and Tariq, you know, for doing different things. Tariq bringing the news to us in a way that we can connect and network. You know, the FBA Expo and the rallies, these are networking events, stupid. Yeah, we're talking about our reparative justice, but if y'all are not reaching out and touching somebody that you've been talking to on this app in these spaces, then you're not ready. You're a soft target and you're dangerous to be around. Professor Black Truth, that he don't go outside. I don't know that he's a fan, right? But I am going to say that the example that he set about what you would share on the internet, that's pretty powerful. You know, when you say you don't have any favorites, you know, and you're just bringing the information, you know, a lot of his video addresses that people would say are boring and aren't clickbait like the Broke Authority, that shit is months, if not years ahead of its time. And when I say of its time, I mean before mainstream media is going to start talking about it. So if he's able to dissect things in that manner, and you've got Tariq bringing things to you in real time, and you've got freaky ass Jeremy staying his ass inside, asking people to do things on his behalf like a damn dictator, well, the cult of personality is realer than you thought. You know, Existing on Demon Time says you can do the things that need to be done during war. You know, I saw one of the Twitter pages I follow is like Morbidly Creepy History, and it was like a picture of the soldiers at the Holocaust standing in front of one of the gas chambers. They weren't like directly in front of the gas chamber, but they were kind of like juxtaposed to, And in their juxtaposition, they were all smiles. So there were people burning, gassing, dying a couple 100 feet to the left. And to their right are the people who put them in the chamber, taking a break. They got cigarettes. They taking a smoke break. How fucking weird is that? But no, they can do the things. That's demon time. I don't know if they've ever made it back to angel time because, the demons are still very much in control of things. But demon, flea, whatever you want to call it, the original fleas, the 13th generation American immigrant, the foundational white Americans, the wasps, and everybody who didn't have melanin who got over here and pushed us off of our shit. Or check this. Some of y'all have not even been 100 miles away from where your family has been. Just on some ancestral irony. You a nigga ain't never been nowhere because of generational poverty, but guess what? You a nigga ain't never been nowhere because they didn't move you off your land. They just came and took your shit, took all the paperwork and said, I'm the captain now. And then they buck broke you and you said, oh shit, I'm Toby, right? Not that your name was Kunta, but shit, your name is definitely Toby now. And insert broken families and just a bunch of stuff that Black America keeps getting told is what's fucked up about us. But, that entire story sounds like a people who've been fighting the whole time, who've never had a chance to sit back and dissect our problems as much as some people have time. And some people do good things with that time. Some people do bad things with their time. And what type of person are you? Look, this woman that I keep having on your screen right now, she's not a flea either. But this woman did the same thing. This is the opposite of the 39-year-old
woman is a virgin and she regrets it. Yes, you heard that correctly. Mariam has maintained her purity for over a century and is unable to find a lover. But hold on, there's more to her story. She once met a white man whom she fell in love with. They had big plans together. Despite having a wonderful time, she chose to remain virgin until marriage. However, the boyfriend mysteriously disappeared. She turned down other African men who showed interest in her and waited for her man. But to this day, he has not returned, nor has he even communicated with her. She stayed celibate, but in the end, she felt betrayed. What happened to the boyfriend? Is he still alive? Why is there no communication? And how has this woman managed to maintain her virginity for over 100 years?
No, real talk, because they be raping people over there in like big ways. So like somebody lying or somebody lying. No, she's the same and different. The 39-year-old said, look, I don't give a shit who you are, what you are, and then you look at the conditions of where she's at. And I don't know specifically what city in what country she's in, but she was kind of going hard on Nigeria. So maybe she's in Nigeria, but I want to say that I've heard the stories and I've read the stories and I've seen the blurred out pictures of children being with really old people. And I don't know if these are homeless children. So, okay, maybe they're homeless children. The homeless children are getting scooped up by the foreigners. And that's why Angelina Jolie has Black kids. And that's why Charlize Theron has buck broken her two boys. Because, they're all basically just picking up the homeless in Africa. Y'all remember the swollen belly commercials. Like the bleeding heart white people went over there and just, they said they couldn't take it anymore. They need to help these niggas. No, Okay, and then the 103-year-old, she turned down all the niggas, but she's feeling some kind of way because that white man, her Jesus, her white savior, never came back for her. You know, that's not a story that's unfamiliar to Black America, because some of y'all in the 80s and the 90s, and I don't know if it's happening now because you can't really tell, you know, the younger generation, that so many mixtures of Black and non-Black, but I don't mean white, has given us a bunch of Mexican, Puerto Rican looking people. And they don't speak no Spanish because they're not a Spanish mixture. Russell, I think she hooked up with him because that's why she waited. But she's saying that, well, she's not saying he bounced because she didn't want to have sex, but I guess that's kind of what they were alluding to. Like, she maintained her virginity, so then mysteriously he's gone. But really, he was just there to get his kink off with the Bush woman, and he probably just found someone else. You know, it's a lot of different ways the story probably plays out for real. But out of her own mouth, she feels betrayed by the white man because he never came back for her. And in the 80s and the 90s, the way bitches was fucking Rico Suave because they wanted babies with good hair, forgetting the fact that Black Americans have hair that is good. And really, if your hair is healthy, it's good. You know, we got to get off that slick back perm is the only good hair, or hair that can straighten is the only good hair. No, you want hair that can move in the direction that you need to go. And Black America needs to go up. So shit, if your hair don't go up, that might not be the move for you. You know, if you're trying to slick it back, that might not be the energy we need to be on. Your shit might need to be out and up. I don't know, because you know, I know they gonna be like, we got protective styles and shit. Okay, I'm sorry. A lot of asides tonight because I'm unfocused, but the point of America needing a flea bath is that in real time, you guys get to see different hosts, different fleas, you know, different ways to identify a problem. But then what do you do? What do you do about it? Well, I guess the first thing you could do is, you know, Ballotpedia. Like I said earlier, you know, if you want to vote for things that make sense, or if at least you want to participate in the conversation about voting, maybe you would find out what's on the ballot in your state. You know, everybody's talking about California, but you don't know that your state has a reparations task force is almost treasonous. Like, your ass might need to just go ahead and move to California since you've got so many thoughts. Oh, but you can't afford it. So maybe you should shut the fuck up about the things that happen in California if you're not going to do the things in your own state that would help further advance the niggas in your square. But I guess caring about other people's squares is why you've got this woman who will wait for her white savior, and you've got the other woman who will give away all of her stuff to anybody. Okay, I know the $64 million question is, how did the new Black media fill us with regards to the fleas? And I'm sorry, Flat Black and Pan-African, that's all gonna be involved in the conversation, because if you can't tell that your cousin has fleas and then you invite that nigga over your house and then now you got fleas, well, that sounds like a self-inflicted wound. The same way you niggas, you know, your cousin, auntie's house, grandma's house, somebody's family's house had roaches. And when that person came over, you didn't treat their things the same way that you treat other people's things. Nah, you didn't. And you're not about to sit here and lie on Beyonce's internet and tell me you didn't. Fuck that. No, you know how to treat roaches. You separated things. You beat it outside. You know, you left it outside, God damn it. You know, you did a double check when they left. And not because you was saying they was dirty, but you understand pests and how they move. But shit, if you can understand that, then why aren't we getting it about the fleas? But it's because, you know, the people that are supposed to be giving us solutions to the problem, you know, at first they were telling us that we need to be everybody's family because we can't help our family. And while that is true, you cannot help the family you were born into. You can absolutely further advance your family by doing some things. First things first, stop voting for immigrants that don't have Black America's #1 priority on their agenda. If their agenda doesn't talk about Black America first, no, don't vote for that person. Couch 2024. Second thing you can do is you can ask people questions. People, what people? You know, look up if your state has a reparations task force, because if they do, they're probably trying to sneak in Black people who are not from here. Our own experience here in Virginia, we've had to tell them on multiple occasions that Jamaicans and Haitians are not African American. They are Jamaican American and Haitian American. And every time we've said it, they've taken their notepad out and they've taken notes, but the next meeting, you know, they'll try to slip it in. Our last meeting that was recorded, they finally got the verbiage right. I wonder how they're going to be presenting this information to the general public, but be that as it may, you know, ask questions of these people who are supposed to be talking about us. Like, that's the whole reason they're there. So if you're not there to ask any questions of them, then you're not doing your job as a Black American. They want us to be law-abiding, tax-paying citizens. Fine. I want you to be a Black American that makes sense. And if you've got a flea problem, I hope you go get some help. Because let's face it, if you exist in PG County, you got a flea problem. Really, you got a bunch of hosts with fleas, and the entire area is not making sense. You can't be one of the richest Black places in America and not have anything. What buildings, infrastructures, businesses are coming out of PG County as much as they're probably coming out of DC and Northern Virginia and government-esque, government juxtaposed. And no, Russell, as a whole, immigrants don't support the FBA Freedmen agenda, because why would they? They are literally here to replace us. You know, they got us thinking stupid, Russell. They got us thinking that the white people were talking about, they will not replace us. No, they are going to replace them. They already know that. That's why they've accepted their global red number. They're here to replace us as the working class. They want the white ones so that, you know, the replacement doesn't look so spicy. They want the Black ones to make sure that they never have to pay reparations. The Black media could do us a world of favor if they beat the drum on making the government acknowledge who is here, because they know who is here. Any other conversation, I think, is treasonous at this point. We all have social security numbers. If you just got here, you got a different number. And don't give me that shit about stolen identity. Fuck that. Because if there was no stolen identities during the stimulus check direct deposit era of experiment 2020, then no, they know who we are. If you've got an audience of over 100,000 people and that's not your message about the conversation we need to be having with the government, because let's simple. I mean, that's the be all end all of it. I know I've been talking for 3 hours, and the be all end all of it is that if you have an audience of a critical mass, then you should be directing those people to have one conversation with the fucking government, with every political office that's out there. If we're talking about Black America, reparations. Okay, so now that you agree reparations and you're trying to include the Native Americans, it sounds like you know who the fuck we are. What? Okay. Okay. Fine. Since we're going to get stuck on stupid, let's have a final thought. My final thought is executive decision. What's it gonna be? It's gonna have to be a commercial break because my internet's not working again. So, if you're not going to speak up, support Yoshimon.
If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Vampires they prey on your fears to them and stay away. Vampires they prey on your fears, control your atmosphere. Don't let them take your energy. Control your atmosphere. I am you. Control your atmosphere. Don't let them suck your energy. If it is
All right, yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah, if you're not going to support if you're not going to speak up, say it with your chest. Give your funds to people that are doing the things that you wish you could do. And as such, I get why the Broke Authority feels so emboldened, because we have given our hard-earned dollars that we don't have, to a person who is doing the work. Or at least I thought he was doing the work, which is why I gave, and that's why my family gave. And we don't give anymore because the math wasn't mathing, but that's just us over here. You know, the Black family has always been the target of them people. That's why they want us to fuck other people. That's why they want us to have babies with other people. They want us to marry out. They really want interracial, but they don't want it to be with them. So they bring in other people who are not from here, who can lay claim to our reparative justice, because that's how it works. I don't make the rules, you know, like science is science, biology is biology. You go make a liger, that bitch is half tiger and half lion. So, you know, there it is. But how they identify, you know, now we've got some nuances that have to be paid attention to. And inside of these nuances, man, Black America is just, we are going through it, but we don't flee. So we're not fleas. But maybe we're hosts. Maybe we're hosting some fleas, and we might need to do something about that. If you find that you are the host of some fleas, you could start with a flea bath. You know, unsubscribing to channels that would dismantle the Black family. That sounds like getting rid of some problems. But I know, intelligent Black society is already not listening to fraudulent business. No, you're not. So I can't even really tell you to do that. But, you know, if questions are a way to getting some understanding, to getting some straightening, then maybe you guys would start asking that nigga some questions, because I'm tired of the questions that have been asked and answered over and over and over again by me. I find that America's flea problem comes from Black first not being defined in a way that made sense. Pan-Africanism only makes sense if it's quid pro quo. Anything else is kamikaze to the host. If I do for you to my detriment, then what happens to me? Well, fuck what happens to me, right? We already said it was to my detriment. That's why Pan-Africanism has to be quid pro quo, but they don't get that because Pan-African is not their story. It's not their invention. They didn't do that. If they did, they wouldn't have been selling niggas into slavery. You see how that goes? I think the new Black media could make some things very plain for us, and then the conversations would get a lot shorter because people would want to be outside doing things. But if you following a freaky ass nigga who don't go outside, then maybe Black America never makes it outside. And I say, if that's you, you might need to flee because it's about to get rough over here. And if you don't want to be a casualty, you know, you might take yourself out of the equation. You know, there's a very real push for Black people to leave Babylon, you know, to seek solace somewhere else. And if you a Negro from Wakanda, that might be where you need to go. Because the future looks rough. And if you're not used to fighting, then it's gonna get rough. And if you want these conversations to be held in a more family type of environment, you can join me and Isla on Sundays where we are protecting the minis by giving them the information that you guys are afraid to give them in real time in a way that they make sense of it, in an environment that is safe and allows them to ask questions. Because let's face it, some of y'all niggas was told you asked too many questions and you went silent after that. You were told that because you smoke a little weed, you're not allowed to ask certain people questions. You curse a little bit, so you're not allowed to come to certain places. So, you know, on Sundays, if you have some minis and you were always wondering, how do I talk to them about a flea? How do I talk to them about a tether? Do I want my minis running around like Eve's minis saying, give me a knife? Because shit, Tariq, when you played that fucking clip and my twins heard it, they ran with it for months. Well, 3-year-olds running around here talking about some give me a knife like that. Huh. It's fun. It's fun being Black in America. But the minis make it all worth my while. So if you are like me and you want to protect the minis from predators, then maybe you support Sunday school. Till next week, I'm Eve, and this has been my thoughts.
Supplemental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story, and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.